Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is presented by Bell Tire. The sun is shining, and we're getting ready for another season of Detroit Tigers baseball from Lakeland, Florida, the spring training home of the Tigers for the last 80 seasons. The Tigers today getting ready to take on the Tampa Bay Rays. These fans are ready. They've been turning out in droves. There's a lot to be excited about for this 2016 version of the Detroit Tigers. From the right field corner at Joker Marchant Stadium on a sunny, warm, blustery day, along with Kirk Gibson, I'm Dan Dickerson. Very happy to be part of the Fox family this year, along with Kirk and Mario and Rod, bringing you Tigers baseball all season long. Gibby, we're standing in the warm sunshine. Everybody's optimistic. This is a great time of year.
It really is. It's always been that way down here in Lakeland, Florida. You want to make the corrections from your mistakes last year. You have new personnel, but it's kind of a relaxed atmosphere to work. You have the fans up and close. They get their autographs, and they love to be out of the cold weather of Michigan, and it's very sunny and very exciting here today.
4 division titles followed by a last-place finish last year. There was a lot to do in the offseason for Al Avila and his staff, Giving. It seemed like one by one they picked off every single need that they had and then finished a very productive offseason with a surprise signing of Justin Upton, and that just seemed to take Tigers fans over the top.
Yeah, not only the fans, but the players. Justin Upton is just a good kid. My first association with him was in 07 with the Arizona Diamondbacks. He came into a pennant race right there, and 10 productive years since then. A 5-tool player. We're looking right here at his power. He's got power to all fields. Pretty good outfielder, got a good arm, and he can run those bases as well. I've been in the clubhouse quite a bit this spring, and you're talking about the fans and the excitement that Jay Up brought them, but I can tell you the players are equally excited. And things are very good here, and we're looking forward to a productive season.
A lot of other moves, as we mentioned, and we'll be talking about those moves throughout the game today. Shane Green is on the mound for the Tigers today. He'll be followed by Daniel Norris. They're battling for the 5th starter spot. Fans are filing in. These Tigers are ready. It's been a good first week of the exhibition season. We've got the first pitch with Tampa coming up next. Well, welcome back to Joker Marchant Stadium. Our first pitch of the game from Shane Green is low and away to Mikey Matuk. And we're playing exhibition baseball. Tigers and Tampa Bay Rays. So glad to have you along on a sunny, warm, 77-degree day. There's a line drive foul down the left field line. Off the bat of Matuk, Beckham and Jennings to follow here in the first inning. And give you our second look at Shane Green this spring. This is a guy who is bouncing back after, well, obviously a tough year last year, but there were reasons for it.
Yeah, coming back from the surgery to remove the aneurysm in his right shoulder. And all the pitchers right now are in their second time around in the rotation of spring training. The first time Not very comfortable for all the pitchers on the mound. They're probably look at the hitter a little too much. Just not comfortable on the mound. But the second time around, from what I hear, it's much better. And obviously, as they go through the spring, they want to keep healthy and get more comfortable and start to execute all of their pitches.
This little check swing tap foul. Matuk, surprising power when he came up with the Rays last year. 9 home runs and just over 100 at-bats. But he's fighting for a spot on this team. There's a lot of thump in this right-handed bat. Kirk, we saw Green in Orlando against Atlanta. The stuff already looks better than it did really last year at any time. There's a swing and a soft ground ball past the mound. Charging Ian Kinsler. Quick flip over to Miguel Cabrera. 1 up and 1 down. Very breezy. More than breezy. It's windy here today at Joker Marchand Stadium. The wind is blowing straight in from right field. On days like this, you can see the ball jump to left. You would think, if you're not named Steven Moya or Victor Martinez, it's going to be tough to get one out to right field today.
Yeah, but a good time to work on your oppo approach. The wind, you brought up the wind in Florida. It's a good time to get to learn how to deal with conditions all around the league. I remember in the National League that the one park that sticks out to me most is there at Pac Bell or AT&T Park in San Francisco. You are going to experience these conditions somewhere within the season, and this is a great time to work on them in the game and in their early work as well.
During batting practice, the power shagging, getting out and getting used to this wind, but it is blowing all the time down here in Florida. Beckham at the plate. He takes a strike and falls behind 0-2, looking for his first hit of the spring. 0 for 8 so far. Half a season with the Rays last year, and he should be one of their regulars this year, or certainly get a lot of playing time. Former #1 overall pick 8 years ago. Oh, there's a good slider on the outside corner for a called third. Well, as I told you, Shane Green getting the start today. Today's Tigers starting pitcher presented by Chrysler. Let's take a look at some of the numbers for Shane Green from last year.
Yeah, you're looking at the starts right there, and again, he's finally healthy, and that is the pitch that got him to the big leagues. He told me that slider right there, up for the 5th starter spot within the Tigers' rotation, and looking to get a little velocity back on that fastball now that he's healthy.
There is another slider on the outside corner for a called strike. Even with the great start last year, Gibby, 1 run in his first 23 innings. It was only 11 strikeouts. It wasn't the same swing and miss stuff that we saw with the Yankees the year before. There's a swing and miss. Desmond Jennings at the plate. It just wasn't the same stuff.
Yeah, well, he just didn't know really what was wrong until his fingers started to kind of get numb on his pitching hand. Did he realize there was something more serious than just a tired arm or a tired shoulder? And as we said earlier, had the surgery to remove that,
the pseudoaneurysm,
and he's optimistic that he's back on his road to recovery and can make a great contribution to this Tiger team this year.
To me, really interesting to watch this battle between he and Norris. We're going to see Norris after Green. Green's got both a cutter and a slider. And that was the cutter off the plate away. Tigers managed by Brad Ausmus in his 3rd season.
Lots of decisions to be made right now. It's, again, we were talking in the open, it's very relaxed to get to do a lot of work, try a lot of different combinations, a lot of things. Encourage your pitchers and your position players to add on to their arsenal, so to say. And it's a little uncomfortable when you're trying to change things, but this is the time to do it.
Jennings waiting on the 2-2. Good sinking fastball. A lot of movement on that sinking fastball. Brad was saying that's the pitch that he just didn't see last year. We saw him twice in a Yankees uniform in 2014. That power sinker was really missing for Green last year. Hot shot fair. He tucked it just inside third base. Chasing it down in the corner is Upton, and Desmond Jennings will cruise into second. It has to be a good feeling for him after missing most of last year. That's an important player for the Rays. So the 2-out double for Desmond Jennings. We'll take a look at the Rays lineup. They didn't bring a whole lot of regulars. You're supposed to bring 4 on the road in spring training. Some do, some don't. But Beckham, Jennings, and Loney will all get a lot of playing time this year for the Rays. Matuk, again, had a nice power surge in his first year in the major leagues last year. Conger is one of the backup catchers for the Rays. Some other non-roster invites filling out the bottom part of the order for the Rays today.
A lot of good opportunities for the non-roster invitees around the league. That's changed quite a bit over the years. It used to be pretty much set, but now everybody has an opportunity to show that they may belong in the team leaving spring training.
Fly ball into center field softly. Bernard comes in, makes the easy catch. James Loney not much behind that swing. A soft fly ball to end the first. Double does no harm. Tigers get ready to bat. Bottom of the first, scoreless with the Rays.
During the Lexus
Joker Martin Stadium. Ian Kinsler being led to the plate by third base coach Dave Clark, getting ready to lead off. Let's take a look at that Tigers lineup presented by your Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. Those top five, you're going to see them in those spots most games this year. That's a powerful top five. Jose Iglesias, the other regular, 6 of the 9 opening day starters in the lineup. Brian Holiday's had an amazing start to the spring. 3 home runs already, and Ian Kinsler also giving off to a sizzling start, 8 RBIs with his 3 hits.
Yeah, had a good finish to the season last year after struggling at one point through the season, and as you said, picking up. This guy, the veteran guy, brings it every day, wants to play, and wants to get better every day. He's not complacent at all, and a pretty good team leader within that clubhouse.
This is swinging a high fly ball to center, fairly deep, but Matuk has it in range. He goes back. 420 to straightaway center. Kinsler hit it hard, but it's out number 1. Let's take a look at Erasmo Ramirez starting for the Tampa Bay Rays today. Part of the rotation for the Rays, but he's going to be pushed by a young rookie by the name of Blake Snell probably at some point this year.
In his second year with the Rays, originally a Mariner. Like you said, vying for that 5th starter spot. Change-up is his pitch. That is the pitch that he's very good at, and he does very well against left-handed batters.
Tampa Bay has a knack with pitchers. There's a swing and a miss. Justin Upton at the plate. Bit of a slow start for Justin. And Kirk, I mean, when you're looking at guys getting ready, veterans getting ready with a track record, you don't usually worry too much.
Yeah, I've been on the field the last 2 days watching batting practice. And
foul.
Jay Up is he's figuring it out. I've known this kid for a long time. I think he was trying to push the ball to right field too much. Now he's kind of opened it up to the middle of the field more, and he's on his way. He takes a lot of swings, and he's getting to know his new environment, his new hitting coaches, and don't have to worry about this kid.
Everybody was wondering when the Tigers signed him, where would he be in the lineup? Number 2 spot seemed the most logical. That's where he's been in every game that he started this spring, and it would seem like this will be, Kirk, where he's going to be most games.
Yeah, he's very open to it. I talked to him just before the game about it. Who wouldn't want to hit in front of Miguel Cabrera?
Swing and a miss, and Upton strikes out. You will see a fair amount of that, and he's struggled to make some contact so far this spring, his 7th strikeout already. And that brings up Miguel Cabrera. Let's take a look at the Rays defense. Rays always a very good defensive team. They're led by Kevin Kiermaier last year. He's not here today. You got Jennings, very good in left field. They missed him last year. Defense is brought to you by Tim Hortons. And again, not a lot of breakers. Loney is a good first baseman. He has to be because he does not hit with your typical power that you expect from a first baseman. Miguel Cabrera, it's got some movement. That fastball in on the inside corner. Last Diaz behind the plate today.
Yeah, Ramirez is very good at using all quadrants on the plate. You'll see him work it in and out. Top of the zone and the bottom as well. A pretty good off-speed pitch down and away there, right there.
Some sharp break. Miguel has not struck out 4 walks, no strikeouts, and a home run so far this spring. He's just so happy to be healthy. And we just can't wait to see the power come back. We know he can hit for average, but the average and power combination that you fully expected this year after really not being able to drive off that back right leg with any consistency last year.
Yeah, and the numbers showed it in the last month of the season. They were eating him up with 4-seam fastballs. That doesn't happen to Miguel Cabrera.
0-2 here is grounded softly to third. Nice big hop for Beckham. Tim Beckham across the diamond to Loney, and that's an easy first inning for Erasmo Ramirez and the Tampa Bay Rays. After 1, scoreless in Lakeland. Scoreless after 1 here at Joker Marchant Stadium in Lakeland, Florida. Dan Dickerson, Kurt Gibson. Welcome back to Tigers Exhibition Baseball with the Tampa Bay Rays. We're pleased to be joined now by the manager of the Detroit Tigers, Brad Ausmus. Brad, you've had a chance to look at this team for a couple of weeks now. Soft ground ball off the bat of Hank Conger into the overshift. An easy toss from Aviles to Cabrera at first. 1 pitch and 1 out. But you were impressed early, even before the games began, about how camp was going. Just describe for fans how things have gone so far through the first couple of weeks.
They've gone pretty smoothly, really, from Jump Street. They've gone smoothly. The guys, the effort has been there. The concentration has been there. We've run the fundamentals, which is a big part of spring training prior to the game starting and also before each game. Have gone very well. The guys are engaged, and there's a feeling that we got something to do here, and we have an opportunity to do something. It seems like they have the focus in the right spot as a result.
Hey, Brad, it's Gibby. As you look at spring training, do you kind of break it into phases of spring? And if so, like, what would you call this first phase that you're in right now?
I think the first phase, for me, I don't get overly excited about what the results are. And in general, over spring training, I don't get overly excited about what the results are. I think right now guys are getting their legs under them. They're getting their timing. Pitchers are getting their arm strength. So I don't get too concerned about anything that happens early on. I think really the last phase, in between, you see guys will start advancing. And in terms of their timing and their strength. And then really the last few weeks is when you look and you hope that some of them flip the switch and the concentration is there, the adrenaline is there. And sorry, we got signs.
Oh yeah, you have a game to manage still.
Yeah. We switched off so nobody can get them. What about, you've talked a lot about some of your new goals, and we've talked a lot about the base running goals. Maybe explain to the viewers today what you've done to emphasize that.
You know, when I first got here a couple years ago, base running was very important. It was something we worked on a lot. We worked on it as well last spring training, but didn't put the focus in there as strong as you did in 2014. And now we've re-emphasized and refocused, and we've had guys out here on a regular basis early working in small groups, and we've talked to the entire group about the importance of base running and how you have to make it part of your routine. And Gibby is going to help us out. And we're looking forward to having him here now that he's back in town.
Gonna try.
Yeah. If not, I'm blaming you.
Yeah, that's good. I'll take it.
Franklin's on at first. Taylor Motter is at the plate. Middle of the infield double play. Dent, Iglesias, and Kinsler today. That's a smash fair down the third base line off the bat of Motter. Into the corner goes up, and they will wave Franklin home, and he will make it without a throw. Second hard hit double down the line for the Rays today by a right-handed batter. And run in for the Rays to take the 1-0 lead. Motter's at second with one out. Brad, we're looking at Shane Green, and we were talking early on in the first inning just about how he probably never really was healthy last year. What are you seeing already? What are your kind of hopes for Shane Green to get back to? Because we saw a guy with the Yankees in 2014 who had really good stuff.
We did. And actually, he looks strong today, almost to the point where he's too strong. And some of the sinkers that you want down in the zone like that last pitch are riding up in the zone and becoming more hittable. But if we can get that moving back on the sinker, and they can mix that in with the slider, has the ball moving in two directions as it comes to home plate, that makes it very difficult on hitters.
Do you have a goal with your pitchers, or does it vary about how many innings? Like the starters, I see you got them on 5 days rest, and the relievers are pretty much on 4 days rest. But overall, at spring training, do you have goals set for them all? How much their workload is?
Yeah, it's more. We want to get their pitch counts up around 90 sometime before the start of the season, because you got to be at 90 to go into a regular season game and be able to pitch. Anything less than that, and then you're putting some strain on the bullpen, especially early in the season when all of your starters, if they're not in the 90 range, you'd be asking the reliever to come in sooner than you would hope. So that's really it's really the pitch count more than anything else. I know people talk about innings, but for me it's pitch count, and the relievers are a different animal. They don't need nearly as much.
So K-Rod, he is scheduled to. Do you have a schedule when he'll start throwing? And he can't need many. I mean, he's a veteran guy.
He doesn't need many. He hasn't done many in the past. He threw live batting practice the other day. He's going to throw it again tomorrow. And if all goes well, he will be in a game this weekend, maybe Saturday.
Green and Norris kind of battling for that fifth spot right now, Brad, or at least they're both pitching on the same day. Do you kind of picture that for at least maybe another start or so, that they will pitch the same days, alternating, one starts and one follows?
Probably for the short term.
Because obviously by the third start, you hope they're going 3 innings or more. Deep fly ball to left center field, and this ball is trouble. And that ball is gone. Wow. Opposite field home run for Kyle Roller. He put a charge into that one. Carries the fence in left center field. And just like that, the Rays now have a 3-0 lead here in the second.
Yeah, this is not the day you want to offer balls up in the zone, out over the plate. Roller does a pretty good job right here, staying with it. Balls up, elevated, and the wind just gets a hold of it, takes it out to left center field.
Looks like just what you were talking about, Brad. He's not able to get that sinker down right now.
Well, I think that one was a four-seamer. It just got up and he hit it well. The wind certainly helped it, but he squared it up for sure.
Talk about the four-seam fastball. When a guy's got a really good heavy sinker, which Shane Green does when he's going well, you still like, it seems like that more and more pitchers, if they have that good live arm, are effective throwing that four-seam fastball up in the strike zone. It can be a very effective pitch, even if maybe like a sinker baller like Green, they don't use it a whole lot.
Yeah, with a sinker baller going, even real sinker ball pitchers, four-seamers still tend to move a little bit, tend to run a little bit at the very least. So it's tough sometimes for a sinker ball to pitch up in the zone, because with a true four-seam guy, fly ball guy, the hitter gets under the ball and fouls it off or pops it up or even misses it. But with the sinker baller who's trying to throw a four-seamer up, a lot of times that allows for a little bit more solid contact, because the ball's moving just enough to bring it down to the barrel.
Robertson bounces out for the second out.
So we've got quite a bit of time left before, Brad, you get to do your favorite media obligation every day, right?
Yeah.
With Dan Dickerson?
The Dan Dickerson pregame show.
With special guest Brad Ausmus.
Yeah. Only to be topped by the Jim Price pregame show.
Back to the top of the order, Mikey Matuk. Brad, among the pitchers, it just seems like there's some good young arms, as good a group of young arms as we've seen maybe in camp in a long time. Anybody that fans might not be especially familiar with that's caught your eye perhaps early on?
I mean, if I hold off long enough, I won't have to answer this question. It was good talking to you guys.
You too, Brad. Good job.
Brad. That ball didn't hang up quite long enough to get the answer. A three-run inning for the Rays. 3-0 as we go to the bottom of the second. Marchant Stadium, Dan Dickerson, Kirk Gibson, so glad to have you along for the exhibition action today between the Tigers and Tampa Bay Rays, kicking off a season's worth of coverage of Tigers baseball here on Fox Sports Detroit. Victor Martinez, one of the stories of the spring, Kirk, just for the simple reason that this is a guy who, while he played last year, really wasn't ever that guy that we saw in 2014 or even the second half of 2013. He just wasn't able to drive off that back left leg, batting left-handed.
Well, he hurt that left knee just before spring training, had surgery on it. That's never a good way to start a season with the surgery because it's such a long season, such a marathon. As you said, never really got to be strong enough, and as he went on and on throughout the season, just got weaker and weaker and sore. When you're playing every day, it tends to swell up and blow up quite a bit. And just did not swing the bat from the left side of the plate at all. Now, he was pretty good from the right side last year, Danny, as he always is, a little better. But seems to feel much better this year. And we got a hold of one right there again.
And that one's going to get a couple of skips to the wall, and Victor legging in out. Strong throw from right field, but Victor slides in safely. There's a difference right there, just in how he's running the bases. We saw him pick up an infield hit the other day in Vieira.
Well, as Brad said, that's the point of emphasis right here. You see the side view right here, stays back nice. Can use your hands if you do that. Nice tight route around here. See Victor turning it on. Now, you kind of wince when you see, I would say Cabrera and Victor Martinez don't run hard ever.
We said that the other day when he got the infield base hit. I mean, he was legging it out down the line, and we were both thinking, please.
Yeah, you cannot take the competitiveness
you just can't,
out of
can you?
Victor Martinez or Miguel Cabrera or anybody on the diamond for that fact.
I'll give you that side view of Martinez right there. It's a great shot. How it shows how he can drive off that back leg. I remember talking to him at the end of last season. He just couldn't drive off that back leg, and it was just It was very frustrating.
Yeah, it is.
And he was very happy to get to the offseason.
Yeah, you try and fight your way through it, but it doesn't work out.
J.D. Martinez at the plate.
Talking to J.D. the other day, and he said he's seen a lot of breaking balls early in the spring. He's like, come on, really? This is the first game. But I said, that's a little bit of respect for you.
That's what happens after a 38 home run season.
Yeah, a lot of the Tiger hitters, just really the key to them is hitting the ball, not opposite field, but that opposite field gap. When they can do that, everything else falls in place.
The majority of J.D.'s home runs the last 2 years. There's a shot into left field. They'll hold Victor at third. But solid contact. Both teams hitting the ball hard. In these first 2 innings, Tampa Bay with a 3-0 lead, but the Tigers have their first 2 on here in the second inning. Brings in Mike Aviles.
And what tends to happen when you have that good middle relaxed approach, ball hangs on the inside part of the plate right here. You got the quick hands, as you see J.D. right here, sharply into left field. Too sharp for Victor Martinez to score. The Tigers have something going on here. Nobody out.
Brings up Mike Aviles. You like this pickup in the offseason?
I do. And spent a day yesterday talking to him. He's a baseball rat. He's got a lot of experience from the Kansas City Royals organization. A very good place to be developed. He's had a couple other stops in between. I think Boston and Cleveland.
Yep.
And just very versatile, accepts his role. And, beyond on the diamond, adds a lot in the clubhouse.
It's not a small component. There's a line drive into left, and the Tigers are on the board. Mike Aviles brings home Victor Martinez, and the Tigers now trail at 3-1. 3 hard-hit balls, all line drives to start the bottom of the second for the Tigers.
Ramirez not getting the ball inside on the Tiger hitters as he was in the last inning. Just leaves it out over the plate a little bit. Aviles, solid contact. Gets in Victor. We have first and second.
You need those guys in the clubhouse, don't you? I mean, sometimes I think people don't realize how important the mix of personalities can be, and Mike Aviles is one of those guys who just seems like he will add to what is already a veteran presence, guys who know what it takes to win.
Now, you're not looking for a guy to carry it, but you're looking for a guy to contribute, and another guy to get on the right into the rope, so to say, and pull in the positive direction, and Mike is one of those individuals.
Iglesias 3 for 13 in the spring, 300 hitter last year, stayed healthy for the entire year, at least the part you're worried about the most, the shins. Then he had the broken finger that wiped out most of September. Breaking ball from Erasmo Ramirez misses away. Victor Martinez started the inning with a double into the corner. J.D. with a sharp line single to left. Mike Aviles with another line drive, almost carbon copied line drive single to left. And now Ramirez having a tough time finding the strike zone. A little cautious about getting it near the strike zone. Well, this looks like this is the Tigers bench, projected bench
today.
As of today. And this is, of course, assuming that Cameron Maybin's not ready for the start of the regular season. But Saltalamacchia, solid pickup, a veteran catcher. Romine and Aviles, I think a lot of people wondered why pick up Aviles when he does many of the same things that Romine does. There's a drive to center field. This one's hit hard, but playable from Matuk. So he goes back deep into right center to make the catch. J.D. Martinez cruises over to third. Tigers with runners at the corners now, one out for Doc Holliday. But that bench you got with Aviles and Romine, yes, they do a lot of the same things, but from a manager's standpoint, that's a lot of versatility and a lot of flexibility in what you want to do maybe at the end of a game.
You can never have enough versatility, and one of the, I guess, the wrinkles in our projections is this guy right here at the plate who's had an outstanding spring. He's always been a very, very good catcher, but he swung the bat with authority. Has he got 3 home runs so far this spring?
3 home runs.
3 home runs. And
he's crushed the ball.
Yeah, he has. And he's been very aggressive early in the count. And he gets it. He's been taking care of business.
I think it's fascinating. He's out of options. Everybody knows that. He will not clear waivers to go down to Toledo. Nobody would expect that. Somebody's going to snap him up. So your options are then to try to trade him or keep him on your roster and let somebody else go. But there's no obvious candidate of who you would let go if Brian Holliday continues. Well, he's not going to continue to hit like he is. He's 6 for 8 with 3 home runs. It was a soft tap foul, but Gibby, he did after a long talk with Al Kaline last year about being more aggressive and attacking the ball, he did show noticeably more power last year when he was up with the Tigers.
Yeah, I talked to Al Kaline today about that very conversation. He did have a great conversation. Give Brian Holiday credit for heeding his advice. So much can happen here. I mean, you might say, well, why do they put themselves in this situation? So much can happen. Catchers are valuable around the league. So one of these three guys is going to be out. We know it's not going to be James McCann. So,
right.
So that's a good position for the Tigers to be in, and for Brian Holiday. If he continues to have this type of spring, he's going to go somewhere in the big leagues and make a contribution to that team and to the game of baseball. He does it the right way.
There's a swing and a pop-up, and that's going to get over the screen behind home plate. At 28, it's unlikely that you're going to become a different player, and yet he clearly made an effort last year to become at 27 a different player, more of a tack hitter. He did show more extra base power, so it is possible that this is a guy who will develop maybe into a reserve who can hit for power, which you might not have said, you would not have said 2 years ago.
Well, I think you just said something kind of key. I think he's accepted the fact that he's probably going to be a reserve. I know he's worked around the diamond. He's taken some ground balls at third base.
Yep.
Good job of getting a piece right there. You get down in the count. If guys on first and third, you want to make sure you battle, stay alive. Hopefully Ramirez will hang one this time and you can get the runner in.
This is a guy that is extremely well liked in the clubhouse. The negatives for him is that he's a right-handed batter. Saltalamacchia is a switch hitter, strong from the left side. And this Saltalamacchia just has that experience at the major league level that he does not have. This is a good at-bat for Holiday. The sixth pitch of the at-bat is low for ball 3.
If you're Brad Ausmus, who is a catcher, so I mean he's going to be very accurate in his, I guess, evaluating the situation. You really like this situation, and Brad is, I can tell you from being around him, he's very involved in game planning, etc. Like you talked about the high fastballs. I know Brad believes in that because I watched him when he was a catcher.
Line drive into left. The hits just keep ringing off the bat of the Tigers, and especially Doc Holliday this spring. That's his 9th RBI as J.D. Martinez scores. And the Tigers have cut the lead now for the Rays to 3-2. Man, Holliday's just stinging the ball. Every one of his hits this spring has been hard hit.
Yeah, it's a great at-bat. We're going to look at Mike Avila right here. He's running on the pitch, and he's got that first to third mentality. Good, hard rounding of second base. You know, when you're an outfielder, you see a guy do that. It gives you the yips sometimes. Well, if you're Kirk Gibson, it does. Don't do that. But, you know, it's just that little dimension that we showed right there just adds just a little bit of pressure. Does it get you 1 or 2 errors a year, maybe win you a ball game? That's why Brad is putting emphasis on the little things like that on the bases.
Even though you're probably not going to third in that situation for Mike Avila, it's how you get to second that sometimes might get you to third or cause somebody to make a mistake in the outfield.
Well, and Brad showed a little bit of confidence there. Brian Holiday had him on the move as well.
Yeah. Bernard takes a pitch low. Winton Bernard signed out of a tryout camp 2 springs ago here in Lakeland. Man, he hits one hard but foul. Nobody gets signed out of a tryout camp. Nobody. But Winton Bernard did.
This kid's got a great attitude right here. I've been in a couple of the pre-meetings before practice and standing by Winton right here. And I brought him a little something one day, and I said, now you got to bring me something tomorrow. And he looked at me. So we've had some great conversations. He's earned it all, and he's not done in his own mind. Believes he can make a contribution.
Torrey Hunter's like the gift that keeps on giving for this team, because the advice and the leadership he showed in his 2 years with the Tigers has rubbed off on so many people. Max Scherzer mentioned it the other day in Vieira. Ian Kinsler has talked about it. And Winton Bernard said that the thing he learned from Torrey Hunter in big league camp last year, approach every game like you're a major leaguer and bring that major leaguer attitude to every game, that you belong here. And he said it helped him a ton. This was a kid out of A-ball that Torrey Hunter was telling that too. And Winton Bernard has a chance, because of the Maven injury, you would think a chance to make that opening day roster.
Well, he's certainly making a statement for being a part of maybe future depth should you need it. And again, you bring a young kid up like this, bring him into camp, and you watch how he operates.
Soft ground ball That'll go foul down the third base line. Still 2-2 on Winton Bernard, 2 for 8 this spring.
Because anybody that comes up and is in a big league camp or in a big league game, it's pretty overwhelming. It really is. You're going to have like starry eyes, and the crowds are bigger, and there's just much more exciting. How do you handle that? How do you watch a player handle that? I think maybe you can speculate if they can handle that very quickly and smoothly, that you put them in situations within a game, the same might happen.
There's great value in these games for guys like Winton Bernard, who was at AA Erie last year. Ground ball to second, that should end the inning. Easy double play. Franklin to Robertson. No, could not double up Bernard at first, and that a little slow turn at second base, but that's the speed of Winton Bernard.
Yeah, good job by Wint. Gets out of the box good. And the reason we're even talking about Wint right now, the pitch the other day that broke Cameron Maben's wrist, his left wrist, left hand. You see him offering at that inside fastball. They had a little heat on that fastball. That wasn't a changeup right there. So he's projected to be out 4 to 6 weeks. Be close to see if he's ready for the start of the season.
Just picture, even if it's on the short end of that 4 to 6, he's still got to get the at-bats that would get him ready for the season. Wouldn't put anything past him. He's very frustrated because he'd already had a freak injury slipping on some ice in the offseason.
Yeah, hurt his shoulder, slipped on some black ice, he said. Hurt the shoulder, and then now he's got the hand thing, so he's got 2 issues going on.
Kinsler hit the ball hard his first time up, hit a fly ball to center. Ramirez, that's a perfect pitch. At the knees on the outside corner.
Just kind of watching, everybody has different philosophies on hitting. They try different things. Like the Rays last year went to a very aggressive swinging team.
Ground ball deep, third and fair. Skipped right by third baseman Beckham. Avili's in to score. They are waving Bernard around third, and he will score. Ian Kinsler's having a spring. 2-run double, 10 RBIs in 12 trips to the plate, and the Tigers take the lead 4-3.
Ian Kinsler is just all-around good player, and he continues to come through in situations. Winton Bernard starting for first base. We were talking about that timing right there. You got to take a good route around the bases. Hits with the outside foot. That makes it shorter. Inside foot there, and easily scores.
Boy, he flies around the bases, doesn't he? Oh, man.
Got some wheels.
Jim Hickey does such a good job with Rays pitchers. They've done some remarkable things with guys who haven't done much at the major league level or who have struggled. They bring them in, especially relievers in Tampa, and turn them into oftentimes something special.
Yeah, I remember him back with Houston early in his pitching coach career. Now at this 8th or 9th year, I believe, with the Rays, and you could argue he's one of the best, if not the best, pitching coach in the league. Yeah, and he has a real good understanding about how to get people out and how to convince the pitchers throwing the pitches that they can execute that pitch, and teaching them how to do so.
And they obviously buy into it, Gibby, because when you look at the year, Fernando Rodney's best year, even after he left the Tigers, he did not have good years with the Angels. He went to Tampa, and he had an unbelievable one season in particular. But that's they've done that with a lot of pitchers. Down and away with the fastball. 1-1, or make it 2-0 on Upton.
We're going to see a swing here.
Ball's definitely going to left. We've seen that already. An opposite field home run. Top half of the inning from Kyle Roller of the Rays. See if Upton can get one up in the breeze to left. Had a chance.
Yeah, let it go. Good aggressive swing right there. You know, one of the things I like to do, Danny, is when I was a player, I like to look in the glove right here. You're going to watch Ramirez right here. He's got that good changeup. That's an easy pitch to see. You can kind of look at that glove right there. Can you see in there? Can you relay it to your buddy?
Hold there. Who's ready?
You always like to figure out what guys were throwing and seeing if you could pick up pitches.
Especially late in my career, because you lose your physical abilities somewhat, and you have to try to be a little smarter, a little more efficient with your resources. So that's the thing I remember for sure. He's got that glove turned a little bit, but you might be able to see that.
Did you like getting the signs from the guy at second, or did you just like picking it up at the plate?
Well, both. You don't trust everybody down at second, by the way. But I liked it. But again, my good buddy Alan Trammell did not want to know anything. But basically what that means, he was a much better hitter than me.
Upton still waiting on the 2-2, sixth pitch of the at-bat. It's been a long inning for Erasmo Ramirez on the mound for the Rays. This is the 8th batter of the inning for the Tigers. There's a high fly ball to center. Matuk didn't read it right away, but he'll get there in time to make the easy catch in shallow center. Upton flies out, but that's a heck of an inning for the Tigers. They send 8 men to the plate and hit the ball hard and score 4. 4-3 after 2. Both teams, 4-3 Tigers as we go to the top of the 3rd inning. Let's take a look at that Tigers defensive lineup today. Tigers are a much improved defensive team last year. Kinsler should have won a Gold Glove. Cabrera was very good at first. Justin Upton's going to add a lot in that outfield, and J.D. Martinez was really good in right field last year for the Tigers.
It was a 14 assists last year. They kept running, and they kept learning the tough way.
Took a long time, that learning curve for opponents, to figure out that J.D. had a strong, accurate arm as Beckham takes his strike to start the 3rd.
He's gotten much better. He's really put a lot of work into it.
He really has. Dave Clark works with the Tigers outfielders, and he's worked with J.D. since his days in Houston.
And, you get better at throwing by throwing. It's just same with the base running, your hitting, whether you're pitching your PFP. I know Kenny Rogers is his camp. He's going to meet with the left-handed pitchers tomorrow. Took his fielding and is holding the runners very seriously.
Boy, did he.
And these are all things that are available, and everything you do in this game is about proper preparation. What's your routine? You want to continue to add things to your arsenal, to your tool shed, so to say, for whatever job may come your way.
And I love that Kenny Rogers, he just, he doesn't live too far away. He just kind of sneaks into camp, goes to the backfields. There's a foul. And he makes the guys work, because he truly was one of the terrific fielding pitchers I've ever seen. He'd throw his body all over the place, and he's trying to impart some of that knowledge to the Tigers pitchers.
He's very intense about it. He's very passionate about it. And he used to do these things. He'd work on it by himself, and pretty soon here come another teammate, another teammate. First they thought he was crazy. Then they realized he was good.
Fly ball to right into the teeth of the breeze. Look at that ball carry to the base of the wall off the bat of Beckham on an 0-2, and he'll cruise into second base. And the contact is hard against Shane Green today. Well, Shane Green's getting another inning. Kurt, they don't want him to go too far in terms of pitches thrown, but he still has a chance to finish on a high note after some hard hit balls.
Yeah, that's not a good 0-2 pitch right there. You see the ball is basically right down the middle, elevated up in the zone. Maybe getting a little tired right now. And he's getting up into close to 40 pitch range, and I think we've got somebody warming up in the Tigers bullpen, so don't know that he'll get through this inning.
Daniel Norris is going to follow. Britton was up throwing last inning, so we would think that Britton might come in and they would want Norris to start an inning. We'll see. Desmond Jennings takes a strike, but look at the balls that have been hit in the last 9 batters. There is Britton, and right next to him is Norris. So you would think if they have to go to the bullpen here, Britton comes in and then Norris will start the 4th inning.
Yeah, I think that's the way they'd go.
Fly ball right center field. This one's hit hard. Tracking it though is JD. He'll make the catch in deep right center. Beckham cruises over to third. It's time to play in your summer fun at Comerica Park. Individual tickets for all Tigers home games are on sale right now. And for tickets, you can visit Tigers.com. You can always call 866-66-TIGER. Anticipation high for the 2016 season. We talked about it in the open, Gibby, but when they signed Justin Upton at the very end, fans were already excited. That just seemed to take them over the top.
It did, absolutely.
Because this team has all the ingredients, you would think, to get back to being Central Division champions.
This is interesting right here. I know Brad's just working on it. This is a spring training game, so you're going to do this. It's a no-brainer. Infield is in. Don't get a lot of opportunity to work on these situations in spring training, so it's a good move by Brad. That's tight in there. That's close. The ball comes to you pretty hot.
Loney at the plate. Swinging a foul straight back.
You know, they hit fungos every day, and they can bring them in, but it's not like reading the ball off the bat. Now, you line up in a position, and then you have to read the swings. It's very important here. You know, maybe you want to take a step over to the left. Maybe you want to cheat to the right. This is why it's a good idea to get this happening right now. You know, all the infielders are kind of placed in a position, but it's up to them to make those adjustments from what they read.
Because it's all about how quick you can react when you're in this tight. Every millisecond counts in your reaction time.
Well, and the other thing is, you're an infielder. You can see the signs. You also can see where the catcher's setting up. So you have a good idea. If he executes the pitch, maybe I need to adjust my positioning. Now, I was an outfielder when I saw a guy coming inside to an opposite field. So if there's a left-handed pitcher coming into a right-handed hitter, and he was trying to jam him with 2 strikes, I'd come in as a right fielder anticipating the jam shot. Yes. So this happens all around the diamond. And they've also had an opportunity to watch where Shane Green's releasing the ball, where he's throwing, how the pitches are going. So, again, you want to work on these things and make that little adjustment to make the play.
Loney waiting on the 2-2.
Got it.
And he got him. Off speed away.
They took a lot off that there, Danny. 83 miles an hour. Set him up pretty good. A good breaking ball right there, right in the outside corner. Good movement. Ran off the plate. And it looks like Shane Green is done for the day.
So that will be the end of the day for Shane Green. Going to the bullpen. It's a wall side windows pitching change. Drake Britton is coming on. Looks like most probably to get the last out here in the third. 4-3 Tigers have the lead with 2 outs here in the third. Drake Britton is the new Tigers pitcher, being called upon to get probably the last out here in the third before Daniel Norris takes over on the mound. Tigers picked him up in the offseason. You see last year AAA with the Cubs. Not only the 5 ERA, but high walks and low strikeouts, and that's a tough combination.
He got kind of a quick arm. One of the strengths that he does have, a little bit deceptive. I talked to Britton today in the clubhouse, and he was talking about, these guys really want to start throwing strikes.
Soft ground ball to short, charging Iglesias on the run. Good play, makes it look easy. And a good job by Britton to get contact.
Did his job.
He strands the runner at third. Tigers hold on to the lead going to the bottom of the third.
Go back, Tigers lead 4-3 as we go to the bottom of the third. One of the things we've been talking about is the base running. When you look at right here, what we're showing you is the secondary lead when you're ready to retreat, and your secondary lead when you're ready to advance. So see, you want that timing of that right foot coming down right when the ball's into the hitting zone, and then you're on your way if the ball is hit. As you can see, Wynton Bernard round the bases right here. We did it quickly. It's tough always when you're on TV, Danny, to show what you mean. But I'll be with it. We'll be with you to keep showing you what we mean about how this can help the Tigers win, because they do need to get better at the base running.
Cabrera's strike, we both feel that was a big part of the equation last year, why the offense might have underperformed based on, well, they were top 5 in batting average on base and slugging and 10th in run scoring. This is swinging a ground ball up the middle and off the glove of a diving Franklin at second base, and Miguel Cabrera leadoff single here in the third. Hard contact continues against Erasmo Ramirez. So, Kirk, when you're out there working with these players, is it more of a mindset, or is it more of the physical side and how they prepare, as you were just showing, to get ready to run the bases?
Well, it's both. Okay, so your secondary lead is when you kind of hop after the pitcher starts to deliver the ball. And that right foot should come down right about the time that the ball enters the hitting zone. If it's hit, you advance. If it's swung and missed or not swung at, you retreat. That's number one. It's technique. Because if you get off at a start, when you're a little kid and you were racing somebody, did you want to cheat? Did you want to jump the gun?
Sure.
It's what it is. It's kind of legal jumping the gun.
So the right foot down as the ball's going in, get you in that best possible position. Oh, fly ball deep down the right field line. Will it stay fair? It is foul. Oh, off the bat of Victor Martinez. Omar Vizquel not sure. I think Victor thought it was gone. I actually thought it had stayed fair.
Around the foul pole. Well, you tell me.
That's a short foul pole.
It really is a short foul pole.
Tough to tell, but Victor thought it was gone. Of course, the hitter's always going to think so.
Had a little bit of politicking right there. That is the season, isn't it?
Victor's already got a couple of home runs this spring, and I just think he's so happy to be healthy.
Yes, he is. But getting back to this base running stuff, one of the things the Tigers did not do was go first to third very good last year, right?
One of the worst in the league.
Or second to home. So this is one of the key elements is your secondary lead, that you have great timing so you get a quick read and you're on your way and you have the mentality. So there's a physical part to it we've been talking about. And now you have the mental part, which is kind of holding yourself to that standard to work on your timing when that foot comes down.
And again, if the other team is thinking this team is always putting the pressure on, trying to take the extra base, it can cause those mistakes in the outfield. It can cause a hurried throw.
You can ask any fielder in the big leagues. They may tell you that that's not the case, but it is.
Here's another example of a Miguel Cabrera sees the ball in the dirt, and he takes off for a second. He did not hesitate. As soon as he saw the ball kick away from Conger, down to second base, that's the kind of thing Brad Ausmus wants to see.
At 8:30 this morning, the Tigers are on the field working on this exact thing. You see the ball in the dirt, you read it, and you react. And I wouldn't want to see Miguel doing this too much, but, again, he's just competing right here, and that was perfectly done.
And when he's feeling good, he likes to run the bases.
Yeah, and if you look at if we looked at that again, you see the ball bounce away from the catcher. He has to go laterally and then throw back across his body to second. So if you go right away, you make it. If you don't, you're out. And these are the things that Brad has been working on with this team. So we'll take another look right here. Watch the ball, how it directs to the catcher's right. Miguel's on his way. He sees it, but he's got to throw back the other way across his body. Hank Conger's not throw the ball well.
Right.
So you know who's
that's
behind
part of the equation.
That's part of the equation, and you're on your way.
Good hitters count for victory here. There's a line drive, base hit into right. They'll hold Miguel at third. Man, the Tigers have absolutely stung the ball the last 10 batters. That's now a line drive double and a line drive single for Victor Martinez. Menards brings you the big money encounter as we look at base running numbers. There are a lot of ways to look at it, but if you're going to start anywhere, Gibby, going first to third, taking the extra base, that's scoring from first on a double or from second on a single. The Tigers were last in the American League in both of those categories, and that is as a starting point for whether you're a good base running team or a bad base running team. That's not a bad starting point, and we'll follow up when we come back because Erasmo Ramirez has reached the end of his day. Wallside Windows pitching change. The Rays going to their bullpen with the Tigers on top 4-3 here in the third. Tigers have been hitting the ball hard the last 2 innings. Matt Andriese is the new pitcher for the Tampa Bay Rays. We were talking about the base running and just this simple. Again, there are a lot of numbers to look at, but this does tell a story, doesn't it, Gibby? That if you're last going first to third, you're last in taking the extra base, League average for taking the extra base is about 38%. Texas was at 47%. It can make a big difference.
Well, it can. And the first to third thing, if you're on third base, you're going to have an easier time scoring. That's the data shows it forever, and that's probably boring to a lot of people. But we're trying to articulate why they're working on these things. In the second to home, obviously you want to score runs, but we've compared a lot to Texas, the best or one of the best teams.
Yep. There's a fly ball to right field. This one's heading toward the corner, coming over and in now. Right fielder Motter makes the catch. Sacrifice fly off the bat of J.D. Martinez. Cabrera trots home. Another run for the Tigers in a 5-3 lead here in the third. Boy, I like these swings by Tigers batters today.
They're very aggressive, putting the barrel on the ball.
But if you talk about Texas, one of their best base runners was Adrian Beltre. He went first to third half the time last year at age 36. So when you're working with guys, do you think that you can take a guy who might be below average, turn him into above average if they work on their technique and the mental side of it?
Well, let's just cut it off simply and say, can you get better than last? Right?
Right.
So it's going to add, you score more runs, you're going to win more games. And we're not projecting the Detroit Tigers to be the Texas Rangers on the bases this year.
Right.
Okay, that's unreasonable, but we are saying you can be better, and it can be a commitment as a team to help yourself win some ball games that you maybe normally wouldn't have won.
Grounded to short, and this time it will be inning-ending double play. Robertson to Franklin to Loney. Tigers add a run on the J.D. Martinez sacrifice fly. Tigers with a 2-run lead after 3. By Chrysler. Come in and see how the Chrysler lineup is bringing premium to the people this election season. By Comerica Bank. Raise your expectations of what a bank can be when it's time. Come to Comerica. And by Weingarts. Everything from lawn to snow.
We got lawn down here. No snow.
Lawns are creeping back out from under the snow, we understand, back home with temperatures in the 50s and I guess into the 60s. For the next several days. Daniel Norris is the new pitcher. Line drive down the left field line. That's a base hit, and Upton overran it. Trickles behind him and cruising into second with a leadoff likely single plus error. Nick Franklin. Apparently it doesn't matter which pitcher is on the mound. The contact has been hard here today. Well, Norris picked up in the course trade deadline deal. This is a golden left arm. I'm excited about his possibilities. And you look at those numbers there in 8 starts with the Tigers. Kirk, we saw his best stuff when he came back from the oblique in the 4 final starts of the year. In 3 of those 4, We saw a mid-90s fastball, and we saw some really good stuff.
Yeah, he's very dominating. He only has 18 games pitching in his major league career, so he's very young. And yeah, I know that he had probably around 160 innings last year. He's a young, typical young kid, wants to charge on to 200 innings. But, yeah, he's shown very encouraging stuff. Like you say, he can throw the fastball, knows how to throw it at the top of the zone, has a slider, has a curveball, has a changeup. So he's got 4 pitches, and that allows you to kind of adjust to what's working and what isn't working on any given day, and that allows you to be a starting pitcher in an effective one.
There's a line foul down the left field line. Off-speed pitch. Taylor Motter doubled his first time up and crushed that one down the left field line. Look at that, the number 3 left-handed prospect before last season. And you would think Tigers would love to have a lefty in the starting rotation, probably had the edge for that 5th and final spot in the rotation coming into spring training. Brad Ausmus has not said there are any favorites or that anybody has an edge, but you would think they would love him to grab this 5th starter spot.
Well, I think
that's nothing against Shane Green, but it just seems like that with the stuff that we saw and the potential for the upside from this lefty, they would love to have him in the rotation.
Yeah, I agree. And, Tampa is the Rays have been so aggressive here. You see Norris, after he gives up the leadoff single or double, whatever you want to call it, went right to the off-speed stuff. You got to make those adjustments. That's where it's good to have 4 different pitches.
That was a 95-mile-an-hour heater. That 4-seam fastball up in the strike zone that just dispatched Taylor Motter.
After a couple off-speed pitches previous to that.
That 95 might have looked a little even firmer to Taylor Motter. Kyle Roller at the plate in the opposite field home run. This is probably insurance for the Rays at AAA, a non-roster invite. Last couple of years at AAA with the Yankees, and some power at AAA, and he's showed some power to go opposite field. Maybe boosted by the wind, but really the wind just pushed it more toward left center. You see Daniel Norris looking to second. Thought the timing play was on. To his credit, he held on to the ball as the shortstop Iglesias just held up his hand saying, nope, over here.
Norris is in full lockdown mode. You can tell right now after giving up that first hit. He's all business out there. He's ready to get an out any way he can.
There's a broken bat line drive single to right. They will wave Franklin home, and he will score without a throw. And the Tigers' lead is cut to 1-5-4. Kyle Roller has 3 RBIs today. Let's take a look at that projected rotation for the Tigers. You really like the look of the top 3 in this rotation. Verlander, Zimmerman,
Anibal Sanchez. He seems to be coming back from his shoulder hiccup early here in spring training.
Tigers got good news on Anibal Sanchez today. A 50-pitch bullpen session. There's a fastball from Norris at 93 down in the strike zone. His early starts of the Tigers, we saw kind of 91 to 93, but then in the Cubs game, we actually saw more of the mid-90s stuff, and we saw more of the mid-90s stuff when he came back for those 4 starts in September.
Yeah, I think if you project Norris, that he's not a guy that's going to sit at 95 all game, but maybe a guy who has 95 when he needs it. You want to see a variance in pitch speeds and movements with the fastball, 4-seam, 2-seam, then mix in the off-speed.
Little baby pop up to second base. Kinsler shading his eyes from the sun to make the catch for out number 2. 5-4 Tigers with the lead here in the 4th. Here's that rotation. Justin Verlander. You have to love the way he finished. 14 starts, the final 14 starts of last year, a 2.27 ERA, and very tough to hit. It was low opponents, batting average, low power numbers. Jordan Zimmerman, of course, the terrific pickup in the offseason. You love slotting him in at number 2. Mike Pelfrey, I think, has a chance to be even better than the numbers we've seen with the Twins. Last year, he was rock solid. I still think, some upside with Mike Pelfrey.
Yeah, a veteran guy. He was a #1 pick way back for the Mets.
Yep.
And see JV right here. He's been awesome in spring. He's been very relaxed. This is one of the few off seasons in the last 2 to 3 years where he's actually been healthy.
There's a line drive into center field. It's been nothing but line drive hits, it seems, all day long. Mike Matuk with a sharp single to center to put a couple of men on. 2 outs here in the 4th. But you really feel good about Justin leading this rotation again at the top. That was ace level stuff that we saw in the last 2 months last year. Jordan Zimmerman was going into the offseason one of the very best free agents on the market. Not named David Price or Zach Greinke. And he's just a kind of a cut below, but not far.
He signed, earlier in the process. Glad to see he wanted to come to Detroit. He's from Wisconsin.
The Midwest.
Yeah. So he's not far from home.
Beckham at the plate takes a pitch up and in. I think Sanchez holds the whole key to the rotation.
Well, you hope that he can stay healthy and he can give you, good innings.
There's a swing and a miss. He doesn't have to be the guy who leads the league in ERA, but to get back to being a guy who can put up a 3.20, 3.30 ERA, even say 3.50.
And even if you plan on him going on the DL one time this season, that's okay. I think a lot of the depth was developed last year with a lot of the young kids through a lot of innings, and they'll probably be headed to the minor leagues and be ready should they be needed.
Curveball and a big cut by Tim Beckham.
Pretty good curveball right here. Good depth to it. You're going to see it go straight down. Beckham was looking heater, I think.
When you swing yourself right across home plate into that left-handed batter's box, chances are.
Might see one in tight here.
Bounced the breaking ball. That's the pitch that in his first outing he struggled with that pitch. He bounced several in Orlando against the Braves.
Well, I think that's where he wanted it, don't you think?
That time I do. The other day he was bouncing it, 4 and 5 feet in front of home plate. It was a workout.
That's not a good feel for the pitch.
And that's the thing you always are reminded of in these spring outings. Guys are working on some things. Maybe there's a particular pitch they would like to throw a particular day. Ground ball, and boy, that one had eyes. In between Aviles and Iglesias into left field. Ground ball in the right spot off the bat of Beckham, and we're tied at 5.
As you said, Dan, C&I right here. I don't know what you can do. It's pretty good pitch. It's the ground ball right between third baseman Aviles and the shortstop Jose Iglesias, and we got a 5-5 tie here. You tend to have high-scoring games down here, especially on windy days in Florida spring training game.
There's a swing to ground ball softly to Aviles this time, and an easy toss across the diamond to Cabrera to get Desmond Jennings. Rays tied up with a couple of runs off Daniel Norris. 5-5 tie going to the bottom of the 4th. 9, the bottom of the 4th inning, Joker Marchant Stadium in Lakeland, Florida. Talking about Justin Upton, the key late signing by the Tigers. Here are some of the other big moves that the Tigers made in the offseason. Francisco Rodriguez, a terrific trade to pick him up from Milwaukee. So the Tigers have a bona fide closer. Jordan Zimmerman, they were aggressive going after him. He signed early. And then Al Avila did a terrific job adding on after they picked up a closer, adding Mark Lowe. And also a really nice trade with the Yankees to get hard-throwing lefty and Justin Wilson. Iglesias shows bunt, pulls the bat back. It's a pitch up and away to start the 4th inning. Matt Andriese on the mound for the Rays.
Well, the Tigers knew they wanted to go in a different direction, and adding the starting pitching and to the bullpen. It's totally revamped. K-Rod has had great success. He's extremely dependable. Only 34 years old. Some people may look at that as older, but this guy has got a great understanding of how to feed off the hitter's aggressiveness. And you talk about Lowe. Here's a guy who just nailed it last year. And you have your 7, 8, and 9, a combination with Lowe and K-Rod, and you got Justin Wilson if you want to go that way. And you hope you can get Alex Wilson healthy as well, but a lot of options, a lot of depth in that bullpen for Brad this year.
A little pop fly, and that amazingly is going to drop in between the shortstop Robertson and the center fielder Mikey Matuk. That ball was up in the air a while. Iglesias with a bloop single. Tigers have a new pitching coach. We're sad to see Jeff Jones go. Rich Doobie is the new pitching coach for the Tigers. Long time with the Phillies.
Lots of experience.
Lots of experience, and he made it very clear right from the start, Kirk, that he wants his guys pitching inside. He said, I know a lot of guys talk about it, but it's a real mindset that he wants guys to have and get comfortable with the idea that you're going to go inside no matter what your stuff is.
It is. It's dangerous to say that. It's like telling a hitter stay inside the ball. I mean, you want to make sure they process it the right way. He's not suggesting to pitch inside and hit people. He's just saying make sure you use the whole plate.
And off the plate inside if you need to.
Absolutely. And if you do hit somebody, you can't be afraid of that. He's had some pretty good ones. You know, they had some success over there in Philadelphia. And I know that Doc Holliday has been pretty good under Rich Doobie.
You had Holliday, you had Lee, you had Hamels. And he said a great example of how you can still pitch inside even when you've lost your stuff was Jamie Moyer. Jamie Moyer threw 82, 83 with his fastball because he pitched into his late 40s, and he said he would still always pitch inside.
We had a guy, one of my teammates, Frank Tanana, same way, 81 miles an hour. He broke 3 bats for George Bell, the MVP of the league, in the last game of the season against Toronto.
An incredible 1-0 game.
So if you have the confidence to do it, that's great. You don't have to overthrow it. It's just you have to learn how to do it. And again, you can't have the mentality, I don't want to hit somebody. You don't think about that. You just think about hitting your spot. If you don't practice it, again, you're not going to become comfortable with it. So he requires them to practice it.
There's a swinging a fly ball to center field, fairly deep. But going back, Matuk to make the catch. Another good swing for Doc Holliday, the other Doc Holliday.
Yeah.
Fly ball to center.
Put it in your mind, didn't I?
One out and a man on first. But Kirk, you and I were talking earlier. The spring is when you're working on some things in these early days of camp, or when you're working on some things that as you said, you're getting guys maybe out of their comfort zone, but they have to get used to what you're teaching, and that's the importance of these early weeks. The exhibition season.
It is, and the other thing is to make everything a positive. Let's look at Shane Green. One of the key elements was that he threw more strikes today. 44 pitches, 33 strikes. Daniel Norris. There we go on the run.
Iglesias takes off, throw down to second base. Will not be in time. Throw just a little bit high, and Iglesias in with a head-first slide. First steal of the spring.
Well, here's a guy that has a lot of more ability, Iglesias, on the base pass. And right here, good work. Omar Vizquel working with these guys. Let's take a look at his jump. Looking for that first movement of the pitcher to quick peek in. A good slide to the back edge of the bag right there. That's another thing that's been talked about a lot by Omar Vizquel is back edge of first base to back edge of second base. That's a direct route, and it keeps you out of
pop up off the bat of Winton Bernard trying to bunt for a base hit right there, and he pops out for the second out here in the 4th. Omar was a very good base runner.
He was sneaky, and he really had a knack for knowing when you weren't expecting it. Everybody knows that he stole a zillion bases in his career, and he was a great base runner. But, you know, it's just a couple of years ago the Tigers wanted to be aggressive, so they turned everybody loose. It always works early on, and then all of a sudden they take it too far, and they're running into outs. And what they're trying to do is avoid running into outs. So if you're going to take the opportunity, have an understanding, can I make it or not? And if you can, then it's encouraged to go ahead and go. But if you make outs on the bases, you know, again, the data suggests you're costing yourself a lot of runs. The risk has to outweigh the reward has to outweigh the risk.
And that's what Brad talked about. It's just intelligent base running is the word that he has said over and over, applying to the base running of this Tigers team for 2016.
Well, what I like that I'm seeing right now is that the things that they've worked on at 8:30 in the morning is being implemented into the game, and that's the only way you're going to get better at it. You figure some things out, and you know, you continue to refine, and you become a finished product and dangerous on the pass.
Iglesias is one of those guys who can be much better on the bases.
Absolutely. He's got a lot of ability. He's got a lot of speed, quickness. He gets on base quite a bit. He's hit 300 in a year. He's tough with 2 strikes, doesn't make outs. So, I mean, here's a guy that, you know, maybe he beats out on the back end of a double play. So now he's on base. So certainly a guy you want to get around a base. And he's hit down in the order most of his career. He's probably going to do that this year. So you don't want to have a dead portion at the bottom of your lineup. You want to have aggressiveness there as well as at the top.
Pitch high and tight on Kinsler. He draws a walk to put a couple of men on. Iglesias stole 11 last year, but was caught 8 times. And he wasn't good going first to third, but he can be better in both of those areas.
He is, and he knows. And I know Brad has made this a focus in his team meetings, and Omar is working with these guys every day. It's not going to happen overnight. You have to be patient with it. Omar Vizquel played, what, 25 years? Was it 25?
Yeah.
And you can't give all that wisdom in one spring training.
Omar is going to continue to impart all that knowledge. Fill the head of Jose Iglesias. As a swing and a foul. Well, don't miss the Select a Seat and open house. It's at Comerica Park this coming Saturday, 10 to 2. It's actually a fun day, and it's going to be nice weather. Go out there, find a seat that you like, and pick it for the season. Guarantee your opening day ticket. Select your seat for the 2016 season. Call 313-471-2255. You can always visit tigers.com.
Where's your favorite seat in the ballpark, besides here?
Swing and a miss. You know what I like? There's a little down the first base line. There's a little section of seats that kind of hangs a little bit below the first section behind home plate. It's a little lower and a little in front of. That's a good seat.
Yeah,
down the first base line.
First row right field all the time. That reminds me when I played. That was my favorite position to play in my career, in Tiger Stadium, of course. But I like to be right there.
And having grown up in the center field bleachers at the Tiger Stadium, that view from the statues looking in, that's not bad either. That's kind
I
of
sat up there a few games.
There's a strike on the outside corner. Justin Upton takes a called third. The Tigers threaten, but do not score here in the 4th inning. After 4 in Lakeland, Florida, 5-5 tie, Tigers and Rays.
remember kind of feeling that like pit in your stomach, just like, well, you know, that was how it was for me, and I just kind of blacked out after that, and then just kind of had to go about my business. So.
Daniel Norris talking about these shocking news that he had been diagnosed with thyroid cancer. That was early last season, and he didn't let anybody know about it. And the interesting thing was they did not feel it was something that had to be addressed in terms of medically at that time. So he did not have it addressed until after the season. And the Tigers knew about it when they traded for him, the David Price trade to Toronto. But they were assured that it was a treatable form of cancer, and he had it taken care of in the offseason. The next thing you knew, he was out surfing in Nicaragua, as he always seems to do in the offseason.
Couldn't drive Shaggy down there, though, could he?
He did drive Shaggy to the West Coast, though. Shaggy had some problems on the trip west.
For those that don't know, Shaggy is his VW car or bus.
VW van, a classic VW van. He is one interesting young man. He is not your typical 22, 23-year-old. He is a very thoughtful and very interesting young man who grew up in the outdoors, likes being in the outdoors. He has money in the bank, but as he says, I'm better when I live on less. And that's he's an accomplished photographer. And he's just one of those kids that you root for, and it's going to be fun to watch him develop because he's got a lot of talent, too.
Got character
in a way.
Got character. And didn't one of his teammates come out and try to ride with him somewhere? We have to look into that.
Try to ride in Shaggy?
Yeah, I know some asked to go, but they were turned down.
Not everybody gets to ride. There's a line drive foul down the right field line. That's James Loney at the plate, lefty on lefty. Green starter went 2 2/3. And you said you take the positives out of it. There was some hard contact. There's no denying that in his 2 2/3.
Yeah, both sides, though. And I was talking about the strike. Daniel Norris in his first inning, 17 pitches, 13 strikes.
There's a line foul down the first base line. This is what Loney will do. He's going to make contact. He's going to give you a good at-bat. Some speculation about whether Loney will still be with this team on opening day. Kind of tough to carry a bat like this in terms of low power at first base, no matter how good you may be defensively.
Yeah, it's also tough to trade away salary at this time of the year, and James Loney makes pretty good money, and that may be a tough task. Many clubs end up having to contribute to the cause. As he goes down on strikes, good pitch by Daniel Norris.
Right before he went on the DL, the game that he went out of the DL, but he did this before he went on. And that's as hard a ball as I've seen a pitcher hit in all my years of doing Tigers baseball. I mean, he absolutely crushed that ball off a very good lefty, John Lester. It was one of those moments you're like, oh, man.
Well, two things. He loves to hit. He believes he can be a good hitter.
Fly ball to right center field here. That's a long run for Bernard. He won't get there. He's going to play it on one giant hop. And Hank Conger will cruise into second base with a long double.
And he's the first guy to enroll in the Kenny Rogers School of Fielding tomorrow. I mean, this guy really has a desire to be good at everything he does. And the Tigers, let's face it, you can't overlook the importance of having a good athlete, a guy who can handle the bat on the pitching mound.
Yep.
They open in Miami. So, and they end the end of the season is that in Atlanta. So these are very important games, and it's very important that they take it seriously.
We have 10 games on the road in the regular season in National League ballparks where Victor will likely have to sit, although there's already been rumblings, or at least Brad thinking out loud, that there's a possibility Victor will play first in some of those games, whether it would be the Miami series or not. We'll have to see.
Miggy to third?
Miggy to third. Nick Franklin at the plate. There's a curveball, a little slower, bigger break on that breaking ball in the dirt. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pitch he's still clearly getting the feel for here in the spring. He's thrown a couple good ones today, though.
Well, I think you'd rather bounce him as opposed to hang him. But
every time, right?
Yeah, but ideally he wants to throw it where he wants to throw it.
Backdoor beauty. Franklin's got a couple of hits today. Scored a couple of runs. Back and forth in the second inning. The Rays scored 3. The Tigers scored 4. The Tigers built their lead to 5-3, and then the Rays tied it with 2 off Norris in the 4th inning. All singles, but 4 singles against Norris last inning, then the double this inning from Conger. Fastball up and away, and he's shown 95 a few times, which is impressive because, Gibby, they've been bringing him along a little more slowly this spring. He said last spring he went in and he was trying to make the team, and he was charging right out of the gate, and this year they're bringing him along a little more slowly. But here we are in the second game, and he's in the mid-90s. Fastball up again.
Kind of interesting to see what happens to pitchers when they get guys in scoring position. The turns into a kind of a high leverage situation. Can they keep themselves slowed down? And they're starting to overthrow. It looks like Daniel Norris overthrowing a bit right now.
There's a strike on the inside corner. Well, that's a good pitch. Speaking of the 2016 schedule, some of the key dates coming up this 2016 season. The opening day, of course, is in Miami on the 5th. The Tigers will be home a few days later for their home opener against the Yankees on the 8th. Mother's Day. Always. Moms love it.
It's going to be a nice warm day.
Nice warm day. Yep. Take Mom to the ballpark for the Texas Rangers, one of the good teams in the American League. Royals come in 3 times.
And the Red Sox.
And the Red Sox. There's a breaking ball up to Taylor Motter. Royals remain the team to beat in the Central, and they're still not getting a whole lot of love from those who like to predict how division races are going to go. At least the computers don't seem to like the Royals, but they're a team that really doesn't care about that.
Yeah, weren't they projected to win 74 games last year?
74 last year, and some projections are at 77, 78 this year.
So how do you take that?
I take it that they computers cannot predict what the Royals are going to do. There's a strike on the outside corner. I really believe, I mean, they built up to 95 wins last year. I just think something about their style of play, it's one of those things where the end result is more than the sum of the parts. I really believe that.
Yeah, they've very
got something special going.
Yeah, yep, very fundamental. They've kind of built up together. Their nucleus remains the same.
Moustakas made big improvements last year that were important improvements, batting against lefties.
Yep.
And he's a big bat in that lineup. It's not ever going to be a great offense, but it's a good enough offense. And when you put it together with a bullpen that is the gold standard for bullpens everywhere, and it's still very good with good defense and good base running, they should be there again this year. The team to beat. Boy, that's a good pitch.
Yeah, they're not going to roll over, that's for sure. They got too much talent to do so, and most of all, their mentality after having won it. You know, they expect to win again.
You do wonder. I mean, they were driven last year by the failure, meaning they didn't win the World Series the year before when they were 90 feet away with a tying run in Game 7. That drove them all year long. There's a pitch in the dirt, but and I think the Tigers this year, Gabby, do have some of that. It does seem like there's that little extra motivation for the Tigers this year. They've got an owner who has made it clear he wants a World's Championship, but he's an owner. Many owners say that, but here's an owner who says it and then backs it up with the resources. And you could just tell at Tiger Fest, when this guy had been signed and the other resources they'd committed, a $200 million payroll, I think the players really do have that little extra this year. It's like, okay, he's given us everything. There is that extra drive, it appears to me. It certainly seems that way with the Tigers this year to win a championship.
I think the commitment from ownership group right on down to the players helps you with the short memory of last year. It helps you forget and gets you back to the previous years when you were competitive, made it to the playoffs. And the atmosphere sure is that they expect to win, but they're putting in the work to do so. They're just not saying it
right
and not putting in the work. I'm impressed with the camp, the way it's gone so far. They've got to see it through to the end of camp, but more importantly, they have to hold themselves to that standard as the season progresses. That's the key. That's how you'll know. Every team's going to go through 6-game losing streaks. Yep. It's going to happen. It's not going to look good, but can you recover? That comes from the commitment, the dedication, the determination with character from a good ball club.
Ian Kinsler made it very clear. You look at Ian right there, that this is not an ordinary spring. In other words, because of what you just talked about, this is when you get that time to bond together as a team and to put the pieces in place for what should be, they think, a championship run or a run at a championship. And realistically, this team does have the pieces to do that. But I thought it was interesting. He said, this is not an ordinary spring training.
I think they've changed some things over last year, and they realize that they have to address a few things, and open mind to do so.
Curveball hangs high.
Really got under that curveball right there. Came out, elbow dropped. Seems to be rushing down the mound to me.
Look at what will be the center field tandem for the Tigers this year. Anthony Gose on the left and Cameron Maybin on the right. They cover a lot of ground out there. I'm looking forward to watching both. There's a swing and a fly ball softly into left center field. Bernard got a late break, but Upton will come in as the ball sliced to him in left field for the third out. You're watching Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit, presented by Bell Tire. A 5-5 tie as we go to the bottom of the fifth in Lakeland. As we mentioned, couldn't drive like he wanted to off that back right leg, so he adjusted, and all he did was win his fourth batting title last year. For the Detroit Tigers, healthy this year. We're looking for that power to return. He fell off to 18 home runs last year. Certainly seems like that easy power is back early on here in the spring. And Kirk, you were talking earlier about how Tampa made a conscious effort last year. It was during the season to become more aggressive, swinging early in the count, because more and more pitchers were taking advantage of an enlarged strike zone to steal strike one. And there is no better example of the success you can have if you're aggressive, smart aggressive on that first pitch of an at-bat than this guy right here, who over the last 4 years before last year hit 440 with power when he put that first pitch in play. Tailed off a little bit last year, but only because of the injuries. But he's a great example of, you can still draw walks, you can still get on base, but when you go up there ready to hit an attack early in the count without giving away strike one, it can pay big dividends.
Well, he had an off year and won the batting title. That's how good he is. But I think the philosophy is good pitchers. Be aggressive for good pitches. And we were talking about how Tampa Bay, or the Rays, adjusted in midseason. It came from their hitting coach, Derek Shelton. He was talking to Steven Souza. He said, you're taking too many pitches early. And he encouraged him to jump on good pitches early and be ready for it. And being aggressive helped him raise his production. And as you said, around the league, I mean, why would you want to let a good pitch that you can hammer go by? I mean, there's hitters throughout their career that have done that pretty well. I think of Wade Boggs. He took the first pitch all the time, right? But he didn't have the ability really to do damage. He wasn't made up to do so. Miguel Cabrera does damage. Steven Souza, he can do damage. If you can do damage, I think you don't want to let that pitch go by. But you don't want to swing. You have to be disciplined. You have to be good enough that you don't swing at the first pitch in the dirt.
Right.
Because 0-1's not a good count either.
And a lot of pitchers for a lot of years have been basically stealing that strike one. They knew they could because pitchers or hitters take that basically 3/4 of the time. Last year was a noticeable change. League-wide. Line drive hit hard right to Franklin at second base.
Miggy looks ready. But I'll give you another example. Justin Verlander has thrown in his career up to last year before he adjusted 70% fastballs on the outside part of the plate first pitch. The hitters adjusted, and if you look at the numbers, that's when they hammered him the most. But now he's changed up a little bit, and he's much more effective. Like, these trends take place, and then people adjust, and then you must adjust as well.
And there are very few secrets anymore about what a hitter is trying to do, what a pitcher is trying to do, what a team is trying to do. In this era of data analysis and the ability to, there just aren't many secrets with all the analysis. That if somebody gets onto something that's good and they start doing something a little bit differently, other teams will pick up on it, or should, quite quickly.
Most teams have dedicated personnel to find just that.
Yeah. Victor Martinez takes a pitch in the dirt. Victor has stung the ball twice today. A double into the right field corner. A little modified shift on him. And now finally the overshift. 2 years ago, overshifted infield defense didn't bother Victor at all. He hit just as well against the shift as when they didn't shift. Last year's a little bit different, but again, you saw the numbers earlier. He just had a tough time hitting from the left side, period. But he will face the overshift all season long.
Yeah, Tampa right behind Houston. I mean, they do it with great regularity. Overall, Major League average is about 25 to 30 points less hitting into the shift than not hitting into the shift. So, I mean, it's proven that it works, but Victor, if he's hammering the ball and driving it, it isn't going to matter as much.
He draws a walk here, 4 pitches in a row, and he'll trot down to first base. Brings up J.D. Martinez. Well, join us again tonight when the Red Wings take on the Blue Jackets in Columbus. Coverage begins at 6:30 with the Red Wings live. Red Wings and Blue Jackets tonight at 6:30 on Fox Sports Detroit. Time out to have a quick word with Matt Andrees. Just walked Victor on 4 pitches. Michael Gerber from, well, in his first major league camp from West Michigan last year. They thought highly of him. He went to the Arizona Fall League. Had a very good year at West Michigan. And we've seen a lot of him here in these early spring games. By the end of most of these games in the first couple of weeks, and actually it goes through most of the spring, you'll have seen somewhere in the neighborhood of 45 to 55 players.
Which,
by the end of a spring game.
You know, maybe you want to pay attention, because as you go down the road, not only into this season, but into next season, these are a lot of the guys that you're going to see, and this is really important experience for these young players. He's on base right here. Victor walks. You get him on base, let him run the base. Obviously, you want to get Victor off the bases. Yeah. He's run enough today. But Gerber, it's a good, we call that a soft landing. You get him on base, as opposed to putting them up to the plate and making them hit their way on base.
Now he gets to apply some of those things he's been learning in the early morning hours.
Oh, yeah. I think Brad's got 3 groups of base running groups that he goes through, and I think he's got, I don't know what group he was on today, but there'll be another group out tomorrow.
One at a time?
No, there's probably about 15, it seems like 10 players in each group.
Right, but one group at a time each day.
Yeah. And they were working on dirt ball reads off of first and second base today. So you're divided on first and second base. They'll go through this group, next group, and then they'll have a new fundamental the next day. When you're going on the road, generally you don't do it when you're at home, is when you do the early work.
And as he said, it's a point of emphasis. We've talked about it before, he said, but it's just now we're re-emphasizing it and staying with it. There's a swing and a miss. Woo. That's a good slider down and away from J.D. Tiger farm system really has been restocked. The trades at the trade deadline certainly helped in that regard. Take a look at some of the top prospect in the Tigers system. Michael Fulmer has already made an impression in this camp. Traded from the Mets, of course, last year. Bo Burrows, last year's #1. Derek Hill, 2 years ago, the #1 pick. We've seen Kevin Zomack. He's an impressive lefty. Jacoby Jones is a terrific athlete. And those 9-10 guys, keep an eye on them. Joe Jimenez has an electric right arm. He was the closer at West Michigan last year. We won't see him with a big club this year, you wouldn't think, but he is on the fast track. He is a talented young pitcher.
You know, the thing about it, they come much faster now than they used to. And so you say West Michigan, which is low A ball. So, I mean, if you look at they have Gulf Coast and they have short season, that would be Connecticut, Norwich. Then you go to West Michigan, low A, Lakeland, high A, Erie, double A, Toledo, triple A. They can come quick up that ladder.
Oh, swing and a miss. Breaking ball away from Aviles. Stephen Moya's number 10 on that list. Remains intriguing because he has as much power as anybody you will see. If you look at that new construction in right field, that third deck is way back from the right field line. Stephen Moya hit a ball over that third deck the other day in a game here. It was an incredible shot as Aviles swings and misses here and strikes out to end the 5th. A walk does no harm, and we played 5 now at Joker Marchant Stadium. 5-5 tie, Tigers and Rays. Berm in left field. Great vantage point here at Joker Marchant Stadium. Tigers and Rays are tied 5-5 as we go to the top of the 6th inning. Shane Green started today, and our Trevor Thompson had a chance to catch up with him as he left the field today.
My slider felt really good today, and I felt like I overthrew some fastballs again, but a little antsy. It's still early. I'm just looking forward to get out there again.
When you look at what you've got, the time you've got left, what were you trying to be built up for? What's your goal by the time you leave?
By the time I leave spring training, my goal is to be on the team.
As far as that goes, just working on pitches, though, and your strength, and I don't know whether it's speed, velocity, getting that sinker to sink the way you wanted to, like specifically on the mound, what you're working for?
I mean, best case scenario, I'm throwing hard and throwing it where I want to. So I'm just going to keep working on my sides, and when I go out there, making my pitch.
How much are you fueled by the competition right now?
Like I said, I compete with myself on a daily basis, so it's been a lot of fun.
Thanks, Shane. Appreciate it.
Angel Nesbitt on the mound. Gibby, it's always good to hear from, especially after a spring start where a guy looked like he got hit hard, how he viewed that start. And Shane Green, obviously, the good news out of this is that he really liked what his slider did today.
Yeah, I know that was one of his goals. He got under a couple of them, and it's been a while when you have surgery and your year ends like his did last year. It takes you some time to get back to where you want to be and what you're capable of doing. So he's did a good job of analyzing what he did and keeping it in a positive fashion, puts him in better position for his next start.
Daniel Robertson bounces out to the new third baseman. Casey McGee is now in at third. Not wholesale changes yet, but the Tigers have a new second baseman. Jason Krazan has taken over at second base. John Mayberry Jr. at first. Andrew Romine now in left. And Stephen Moyer, we were just talking about, is the new right fielder for the Tigers. Nesbitt, remember, made the team out of spring last year. This is still a good arm that the Tigers have not given up on. He started the season with the Tigers, made some nice appearances. There's a pitch low and outside, and then struggled, went down and struggled some more. And had a tough year, but he is back in spring, and the Tigers still want to take a long look at this guy. We're joined now by Ian Kinsler, who is on headset after leaving today's game. A couple more RBIs for Ian. Ian, it's been a good spring so far for you. Dan Dickerson and Kurt Gibson with you here.
Hi, guys.
How you doing?
Doing all right.
So spring's been going well. You know, we were talking a few moments ago, Ian, that you said this is not an ordinary spring. Talk about what you mean by that for this team.
You know, last year was a rough one for everybody that was included. And, you know, when you come to spring training, you want to rid yourself of what happened the previous year as fast as possible. And, you know, so far we've been playing some good baseball. You know, we're learning a lot about the new guys that we acquired, and it's going really well so far.
Field at the plate for the Rays. It takes a pitch on the outside corner for a called strike.
Ian, how do you get rid of, you say you get rid of last year, and what are the things that you're really working on going into this year, trying to be prepared for the season?
For me, you know, defense always comes last. I think we get so many swings in the cage. You get so much BP. That was right at him. We get so much BP that, you know, defense, getting game looks defensively is always the toughest thing to do. So I think right now I have like a little slow rolling ground ball I got today, like a little line drive, like looping line drive that I've got. I haven't actually had a ground ball right at me yet. So you want to get a couple of those out of the way. But, you know, I think it's just, like you said, talking about getting rid of last year, I think it's more just a feel thing. There's nothing in spring training that you can do to get rid of last year. I think we're all here just to prepare for the season. You know, come the new season, I think that you know, we just need to be ready to play every day, ready to win every game, and not allow what happened last year to affect this year.
It does seem like there is a good feeling that you feel like the feeling can be set here in spring training. The tone can be set kind of for the season with the new faces that you have.
No doubt. You know, the clubhouse this year is a lot different. We have a lot of new players, you know, guys that have been around the game, understand how to win, you know, understand what it takes to be a good teammate, to be, you know, to have a good clubhouse, a winning atmosphere. So, you know, everything so far has been great. And, you know, baseball's a marathon, and it's a long season. So, you know, you go through your ups and downs, and the more people that you have that know how to contribute to keeping the ship, you know, sail, however you want to say it, you know, the smoother the season goes.
But you were impressed with how, I mean, I know Brad was impressed with how the clubhouse did kind of stay together, even though it was a very tough finish to the year last year. That's no small thing.
Yeah, you're right. I think that's definitely true. You know, we saw veteran guys that were playing every day that understand, you know, what it takes to win. And when the game starts, you know, it's all about winning, whether you're in last place or first place. You want to try to win that game that's presented to you. So we were able to keep it together and continue to play hard through the end of the year.
Ian, how many at-bats do you feel like you need? Is there a number of at-bats you feel like you need to get ready? And then when you get ready, you're a veteran guy. How do you kind of preserve that for the start of the season? Because you're a guy who wants to play 150, 155 plus games.
Yeah, I think, you know, it takes about 60 at-bats probably to feel like you're ready to, you know, jump into the season. And like you said, it's all about maintaining that. Trying to maintain that as long as you can going into the season and maintain that through the season. So that's what spring is about.
Ian, thanks for your time. We appreciate it.
All right, thanks, guys.
Good inning for Angel Nesbitt, a 1-2-3. Top of the sixth, Tigers get ready to bat in the bottom of the sixth inning, a 5-5 tie with the Rays.
I'm here with Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by Arby's. Right now, get 2 crispy fish fillet sandwiches for just $5. By Bell Tire. Get the lowest tire price, period, at Bell Tire. And by Southgate Lincoln, American luxury with Michigan roots. Perfect day for baseball at Joker Marchand Stadium in Lakeland, Florida. It's a great setting for spring ball. Tigers and Tampa Bay Rays. The bats were ringing. The hits were ringing off the bats for both teams early. Settled things down a little bit. Jacob Faria takes over on the mound for the Rays. Some very good numbers as a starter in the minor leagues last year for the Rays.
Yeah, finished up in the Midwest League last year. 119 innings pitched, only 113 hits. 107 strikeouts, so this young kid's got pretty good stuff.
Fastball strike to start things off. Jose Iglesias will get one more at bat. He'll probably come out after this at bat. Iglesias with a hit, a little blooper that fell in. Hits a fly ball here softly to right field, and the new right fielder Verona makes the catch. Battled the sun nicely and made it look easy. That was not an easy play. You're looking right into the sun.
Yeah, we talked about the wind earlier in the game, how tough it can be, and a good place as Florida is to work on it. And the sun is another one. A lot of times they come out here with a pitch throwing machine that they throw it up into the sky, and guys practice it so when you encounter situations like that, you're able to do it smoothly. And again, all around the league, you have ballparks that are very, very tough. Ball goes up in the air like that, it's supposed to be caught, so you got to practice it.
It take you a long time to, especially that ball in the sun, it just seems like a really tough play.
Well, I have a long story about this. Are you baiting me? Well, here's another one.
A little pop up into shallow center. The shortstop will make the play. That is Juniel Karakuto in the shortstop.
I dropped 2 balls in the sun one day in right field of Tiger Stadium, and Al Kaline gave me the best advice that anybody could ever give me. He ordered me a pair of the Al Kalines double dark number 6s. When you looked up into the sky, you couldn't see anything. Okay, you could see like a little dark object, which was the ball. It was tough to see, but it minimized the sun to where there was no glare. And I used those and guarded those with my life for the rest of my career. I don't think I ever dropped one after that.
Is that right? And most players don't use those dark ones anymore, do they?
No. And so when you look up into the sun, you see a glare. And these glasses nowadays, I don't know how they do it.
Because those are the old flip downs, right?
Well, not many guys wear the flip downs anymore.
Right, but I'm saying that's what you use.
Yes. So when you flipped up my glasses, the Al Kaline double dark number 6s down, you were looking at, it was all dark. I mean, you had to really focus to see the ball and pick it up. But if it was exactly in the middle of the sun, it was coming out, and you had time to catch it. That's what I knew. That's what I learned. Yeah. Al Kaline, lessons in '79, lessons in 2016. This guy's amazing.
He was out on the field the other day on the back fields. They were doing exactly that, hitting the ball right into the sun, in the morning sun. And he was out there talking about the different ways that you can get around it. There's a swing and a miss. Bat goes into the crowd. Winton Bernard is a strikeout victim to end a very quick bottom of the 6th. Tigers go 1-2-3 in the 6th inning. 5-5 tie after 6. Lots of scoring early. Pitching has settled things down. We're in the 7th inning now. Dan Dickerson and Kurt Gibson, so glad to have you along for exhibition baseball from Joker Marchant Stadium. The Tigers have trained here for 80 years, since 1934. This ballpark opened in the 60s. That renovation we showed you earlier is part of a 20-year lease extension. That means by the time that lease is up, the Tigers will have trained here for 100 seasons. No other relationship anywhere quite like the relationship between Lakeland and the Tigers. There's a line drive down the right field line. That's a fair ball heading into the corner off the bat of Jeff Decker, and he will cruise into second. Nesbitt in his second inning of work because he worked a very quick 6th inning. Well, we're talking about base running. It's always been a passion of my partner. And we flash back now to when he was teaching the art of the lead.
There's
some
another
years
type
ago.
of lead. It's called a one-way lead. That would be a lead where I'm totally uncomfortable, and I might come out here because we on the bench want to see the pitchers move. So we call it a one-way lead. The one-way lead means you're out here farther than you know you should be, and as soon as that pitcher moves, you're going back to the bag.
All right.
Oh, the stuff they have on file. Always teaching.
That wasn't me. There's no way. That's Photoshop. Oh, boy. Well, I have an opinion about base running, as you might know.
It's fun to run the base as well, right?
It is.
It really is. And you would think as a player, you would want to be the best base runner possible because you can create havoc, but it's just fun to be able to be aggressive and to create some things out there.
Well, it's fun to win. So if you score runs, you win more ball games, and that's just kind of how I looked at it. And have some good footage right there. We'll make sure I hand that out to the kids for their birthdays.
I'm sure that's just a brief portion of a long segment.
Mini segments.
Looked like you had a fantasy camper holding you on the base there.
We did, and I think I saw Mr. Rosemo over there.
Nesbitt. Slider grabs the outside corner, up in the strike zone. Nonetheless, a strike. Richie Schaefer at the plate.
And Schaefer's going to be trying to advance that runner at second by hitting the ball to the right side of the diamond. Actually, there's nobody out.
Fly ball deep down the left field line and well fouled and hit a long way. Decker is the runner at second after the leadoff double. 1-2 now the count on Schaefer. The guy minding his own business over by the parking lot. He unexpectedly got a ball in his lap. There's a toss down to second base, and it was not a very good throw, but a terrific play by Dixon Machado to make that close. Boy, we were impressed by Machado, what we saw out of him last September defensively, Gibby.
Pretty good timing coming in, but you want to try and get up in front of that runner so he can't block you out.
There's a fastball up. And again, this is why Nesbitt continues to intrigue. That was a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. What we saw last spring, and the reason he made this team out of spring, Nesbitt had a fastball in the upper 90s with a wicked slider. And there's a good slider, and Schaefer just waved at it. And that's why, even though he had a very tough year at Toledo, Nesbitt still is very much in the Tigers' plans, or at least he has a chance to get back on the Tigers' radar.
If he can do this consistently, that's a snapdragon. Lots of depth to it. Broke off the plate, and a good speed variation right there. That makes it very dangerous. And a good job of not letting that runner advance to third with nobody out.
This is Maley at the plate. Luke Maley, the new catcher for the Rays. Just a little cup of coffee with Tampa last year. Swing and a miss. That's a live fastball right by him.
96 miles an hour. Now we might see the snapdragon here. What do you think?
If he breaks it out here after he gets the 2 strikes. I like it right here. I'm with you. Decker can take a sizable lead off second. He represents a potential go-ahead run here in the 7th inning of a 5-5 game. It's been this way since the 4th. Foul to the screen, stayed with the fastball.
Yeah, I'm going to think this is going to be a chase pitch down in the dirt from Nesbitt.
Machado in to have a quick word from shortstop. So setting that infield, it's McGee, Machado, Krizan, and Mayberry from third over to first.
First game on TV, get to go through the fun little exercise of
swapping out everybody.
Yeah.
Gonzalez now behind the plate. That's Miguel Gonzalez. There's a swing and a foul. He hung that slider.
Yeah, he got away with one.
He really did.
Say just a little bit higher with the fastball now.
He certainly has the stuff to do it, doesn't he? I thought Brad made an interesting point about how sinker ballers working, even if they've got the power arm, working up in the strike zone with a 4-seamer. It's not always because the ball's still going to move as effective a pitch as a guy like this may be throwing up in the strike zone with his 4-seamer.
Yeah, it's never straight, is what he's saying. If you got a 2-seamer and you've got good run, good movement, it's hard to keep it straight regardless of how you try and throw it. Because many people throw sinkers with just different finger pressure, even over the grip. So, you know, the way pitchers grip that ball, they change their grip, and that'll make the ball move differently. Obviously, curveball, they would grip differently than a 2-seamer or a 4-seamer. I remember when Oral Hershiser threw 59 and was it 2/3 or a third inning of scoreless ball? All he did was change finger pressure. It was amazing, and you know, very few people can do it that well over the time of their careers. But that's what they all try to do and try and learn.
3-2, line drive to right. That's going to drop for a base hit. They will hold Decker at third. Good throw from Moya. He fielded that ball. He charged it hard. He did everything right there to hold Decker, the base runner, at third. Plus, the ball was just hit too hard for Decker to score.
Yeah, Moya playing very shallow right here. One hopper. You see him come in, gets a good break on it. Fields the ball on his arm side. That's that kind of activity will make the third base coach stop you. You see him break it down. I mean, that's a big turn right there. Third base coach reads the throw and shuts him down.
Well, it's going to be the end of the day for Angel Nesbitt. We saw some good out of his inning in 1/3. Some very good at times. Tigers going to their bullpen. A 5-5 tie in the top of the 7th with the runners at the corners and 1 out. With the Rays is brought to you by Comerica Bank. Shane Green started today. Gave up 3 runs in 2 2/3. We did see at times good stuff, and he actually was happy with his slider today. 1 strikeout without a walk. Victor Martinez, couple of hits. including a double. He stung the ball twice and then walked his third time up. Brian Holiday, 9th RBI of the spring. Single back in the second inning. Ian Kinsler drove in 2 more. He's got 10 RBIs this spring.
Victor Martinez also thought he had a home run. Remember that one? Got a double instead.
Impossible to tell. Confessor Lara is the new Tigers pitcher. He was mostly at Double-A last year. Actually started right here in Lakeland, moved up to Double-A. He was terrific in limited time here in Lakeland. Low walks, high strikeouts, and then the move to Double-A can be a tough one. And it was a little bit tougher for him. Gave up a few more hits, and the strikeout rate dropped rather sharply.
Looking for a double play right here.
Ryan Brett at the plate. Fastball at 93. Laz Diaz considers it for a moment and goes up with the right hand.
Lara's got a unique motion. He's kind of a long, lanky, a lot of arms and legs coming at you. Doesn't look like an easy guy to pick up.
Tall, thin righty, 6'2", 170. Slider misses low and away. Take a look at that motion.
Yeah, he brings that leg up. The arm goes back, hides the ball, kind of slings it.
Then 93 plays up a little bit.
I think so. You know, how quickly you can pick the ball up always determines that.
It's a swing and a miss. That's a good breaking ball away.
Yeah. Well, he threw a couple sinkers there, a couple 93 sinkers. Very good sequence there, and then put the slider on him. Off the plate, looks like it's going to be the sinker. Oops, sorry, disappears. Have a little seat.
When you get a wave like that, that's very satisfying, isn't it?
Just didn't have his rear end into it, did he? Done that a few times. Remember the feeling.
Dayron Verona at the plate now.
Got to finish it off. Come in, get the first out. Now you got to finish it.
Fastball away. Welcome to all those watching on Sun Sports here in Florida. We're glad to have you along for this exhibition game this afternoon between the Tigers and Tampa Bay Rays. Rays coming off an 80-win season. Health was a big issue for them last year. It's another slider away. It's a team that if they get health from their starters, the combination of Archer, Odorizzi, the ex-Tiger Drew Smyly, and Matt Moore. And Moore and Smyly did not pitch a whole lot last year. Moore finished very strong. That's a heck of a rotation, potentially, for the Rays this year.
With depth in the minor leagues, and like you said earlier, they always seem to get something done.
Pop up behind the plate, and a good job by Gonzalez to make the catch right next to the screen. Verona pops out. And a good job by Lara coming out of the bullpen. 7th inning stretch in Lakeland in a 5-5 game. Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by Comerica Bank. Raise your expectations what a bank can be when it's time. Come to Comerica. By your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Visit ChevyDetroit.com and see why Chevy drives the Motor City. By Wallside Windows, we can do that. We are the factory. And by Weingarts, everything from lawn to snow. Snow mostly gone back in Michigan, if not completely gone. There was quite a bit of snow in the last few weeks in the Metro Detroit area, I know.
Easy winter.
Kept getting the updates.
Pretty easy winter, though, overall, compared to last winter.
And then the snow started to fly.
This is my favorite part of the game, by the way. Right now you get 7, 8, 9, tie game. Time for strategy to come into play. Who's going to do what?
And all of that is absent during spring games. Although, as a manager, you're still trying to think like you would in a regular season game, right?
I think that you still want to win a game. I see the attitudes and the energy better when there's a win than there is a loss. So
right.
Everything considered, you still want to win the ball game, and the fans here, trust me, they want to see you win.
But you're not quite thinking about the bullpen matchups and the batter-pitcher matchups as much in these spring games.
Not at this point in spring training. You see kids come over like the Lara kid. Came in and did a heck of a job last inning, and that'll make you a impression. That might get you another look, by the way. But you're going to make sure that the guys you're counting on, your 12 or 13 pitchers, whatever you're going to decide to take, they're getting their work. And then the next 15 or 20, that's priority one. And the kids get to follow in and make an impression.
Gibby, we're a week into spring training. The first game was a week ago. This is game number 9. You always said you kind of, as a player, as a manager, divided the spring into kind of 3 distinct segments.
Well, you do. You get into like introducing movements of the game. That's the movements, like instead of running the bases, you run the skin behind the infield on the grass. Okay, you start to wear your spikes. You're starting to feel ground ball, but you're not doing it at full speed. And then you try and get that up to full speed in that first phase. Okay, you get up to full speed, you push them a little bit, you increase the innings, you increase the at-bats, you increase the pitch count. Then you taper it off a little bit. You give guys a rest. You give them more of a blow. You give them time to recover because it's very demanding. Then that third phase is the important phase, which by the time you hit opening day, you're back up to full speed. Guys have played 9 innings. They're up to 100 pitches or 90 pitches as a pitcher, and you're ready to go for the long haul.
So that middle segment's always kind of the tough segment, isn't it? As you call it, the grind.
Well, it's the grind, and you have to force yourself to give your players time to regroup a little bit because if you don't, it gets too long and just too repetitious because the players know it's spring training as well. So you give them a little break. Like I say, it's kind of a recovery time, so you put them in good position to demand stuff from their body as they get into the season.
As you say, you wanted to hit the ground running to start the season. When would you kind of gear it back up? Last week? Last 10 games?
Yeah, 10 days to a week, but, I would alternate it early in that third phase. I wouldn't play all my regulars together. I'd probably still mix and match. But as you get into that last week, you want those guys to start playing together a little bit, start feeling a little bit, and that kind of, signifies, here we go.
Yeah. Because it is long, and for players it can be very long, and I would think you have to break it up.
Probably longer than it needs to be, but for the position players, the pitchers do need to get their pitches in there.
Backdoor breaking ball. Romine didn't like the call. You can't really blame him. He takes a called third. Back-to-back strikeouts to start the 7th inning. You can have your party at an upcoming Tigers game. The 2016 party suites and party areas are on sale right now. Groups of 15 or more get discounted tickets. Visit tigers.com/groups or call 313-471-BALL. Brad Rossman was happy with the way things going. Enjoyed our conversation with Brad back in the 2nd inning about how spring is going for him. But there are so many guys in camp. There are so many at-bats that you need to spread around. We saw Confessor Lara come in. He is the 25th right-handed reliever that the Tigers have used already this spring, to give you an idea. There's a lot of organization and planning that goes on, isn't there, to make sure that everybody you have in camp gets a chance. to throw an inning or get an at-bat.
Many players were invited to arrive on March 22nd for a mini camp, okay, and that is they're going to get the young kids ready to play in these games, okay. Beyond being ready to play in these games, they're ready to come over here and run the bases when you're doing rundowns. They're here to play the outfield when you're reading balls off the bat and you're running your bases. Should I advance? Should I not advance? So it works both ways. It's good for the big league club.
Fly ball to left off the bat of Mayberry, and that one's got a chance, and that one is gone. A home run. John Mayberry Jr. with a home run to break the 5-5 tie here in the 7th.
Is that off the top of the wall?
Looked like it glanced off the top of the wall. There's some thump in that right-handed bat.
I believe he got a fastball right here and just lasered a line drive. Leaned on that, barreled it. It looked like it was right off the top of the wall.
Sure was.
Got the members bounce.
Good eyes, Gibby.
Yeah, it's good.
Breaks the 5-5 tie here in the 7th inning. Brings up Michael Gerber. Early on in this game, 2nd inning, the Tiger bats were alive into the 3rd inning. Both Martinez hit the ball hard in the 2nd inning. Aviles, Holiday, Kinsler, and then Cabrera and Martinez all with good swings in the next bottom of the 3rd inning. There's a ground ball to first. Easy flip over to first. Gerber is out, and Tigers take the lead on the Mayberry home run, 6-5 after 7.
Shane Green, mixed results, got a fastball up out over the plate, gave up a home run opposite wind blown, but also showed that good slider down there on the outside part of the plate. Then Daniel Norris. These two guys are competing for the number 5 spot in the Tigers rotation with some high heat right there. It's our Bell Tire pitch by pitch.
You like the way you set that up too. The 2 changeups down.
Soft, hard. Yep, that was a very good sequence, and overall pretty good effort by both gentlemen. We hope they come out with good health, and they'll probably either throw their bullpens on the 2nd or 3rd day, and they'll be ready on the 5th day to go again.
Brad Austin is saying that probably one more time they'll both share a start, because the next time out you're hoping today for 3. Neither one quite made it to 3, but next time out you're hoping for 3, maybe even 4 innings from your 2 starters.
Yeah, that's more of a pitch deal, but Green 2 2/3 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs. Daniel Norris 2 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs.
There's Joey Menez on the mound. This is a name to remember. You saw he was on that list of top 10 prospects. He was the closer at West Michigan. Everybody just raves about this stuff. not just in the Tigers organization. There's a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. Perfect location down and away to get the strikeout of Kyle Roller.
Yeah, just kind of look at the motion right here. He kind of does that little leg kick, kind of a modified Louis T on a little bit, not quite as drastic, but then he drops the 97 out of nowhere on you. Woo.
He's a big kid. He's 6'3", 220. He's just 21 years old. But in this era of incredible bullpen arms, there are so many who throw so hard. This young man still manages to stand out by those who have watched him. Signed out of, or drafted out of Puerto Rico just a few years ago, out of San Juan, Puerto Rico. There's a swing and a drive deep to the right center field gap. This one's hit a long way, and this might be 3. Rounding second, heading for third, and he will make it without a throw. That is the shortstop, Quericuto. And the tying run is now on at third with one out here in the 8th.
Yeah, I think the Tigers will bring the infield in right here. Try and cut that run down at home plate.
This is the value of having a swing and miss guy on the mound with that potential tying run at third. Infield again in tight. Field at the plate. This is Johnny Field. He's had one at bat so far. He lined out to right field. Hit it hard.
Yeah, there's so many pitchers that throw so hard that you were talking about. I was asking J.D. Martinez, you know, what's it like? It seems like these guys get on the 97 pretty easy, doesn't it? But now he told me it was the same. 97 is 97. That good breaking ball to lead off the sequence right here.
That was really nice. Fastball slider for the most part for Jimenez. Whoa. Wicked breaking ball.
It's kind of call that a Glenn Abbott special bowel locker. If you look at him, watch his, look at him, whoops, oh, that's going to, whoa. It's a bowel locker.
Quickly 0-2. Fastball away at 96. It's an easy kind of 96, 97 consistently. Mid-90s to upper 90s for Joe Jimenez. Some good value for him. Wouldn't be a surprise if he jumped Lakeland to Erie. Once in a while, players will do that. Winton Bernard did that last year. Ground ball to third. Good job. Fielded by McGee. Crossed the diamond to Mayberry. He gets the ground ball. The Tigers hold the runner at third. 2 down man on third, and that leaves it up to Leonard.
I was just going to say, this guy could hang one. It's so good it wouldn't matter, but he does hang this one. Good job by McGee right here. In the right spot. Holds the runner and over to first, so we got 2 down.
So Quericuto, the shortstop, is at third with 2 outs. And that leaves it up to Patrick Leonard. This is his first at-bat of the game. Tim Beckham had a good day, 2 for 4 in this spot in the order. Fastball low and away. Boy, you can locate that pitch in that spot, and he has been. It's a heck of a pitch. John Mayberry Jr. with a home run in the bottom of the 7th inning to break a 5-5 tie. A little bigger bender. Nice curveball, swing and a miss.
So that's almost a 20-mile-an-hour deviation. He went 97, 96, 77. So you wonder why he's out in front a little bit. You're the hitter. You're thinking he's coming heater right now. I got to get it going early, and snaps that off.
There's a swing. Soft little grounder off to the right. So he follows the curveball up with the fastball at 96. As you said, hung the sliders last time in a 1-2 to Field. Let's see what Leonard gets here on the 1-2.
Hey, you got to trust your catcher here if you're going to throw it in the dirt.
Swing and a miss. He got him with a breaking ball. That's a heck of a job by Joey Jimenez. Gave up the triple and strikes out Leonard with a potential tying run at third. 2 strikeouts for Jimenez in the inning. Tigers bat in the bottom of the 8th inning. They've got the 1-run lead as we go to the bottom of the 8th against the Rays. Oakland, Florida. Tigers and Rays. Tigers spring training baseball live with the MLB.com At Bat app. Stay connected all spring. Radio broadcasts, video highlights, stats, news, and more. Download the MLB.com At Bat app. It's the #1 app for live baseball on your smartphone or your tablet.
You got to have that.
Absolutely do. It's amazing how many people, used to be you'd listen to radio, you could watch television. Now you can do it all on your phone.
Yeah, or your pad.
Or your smart pad.
Yeah.
iPad. There's a swing and a miss. Moya at the plate. This guy just intrigues. His high prospect status has dimmed a little bit. His star has dimmed a little bit because he did struggle last year at Toledo. Winter ball made some improvements. And because of his power, which is as good as anybody, I think, maybe in the major leagues, he's going to continue to get long looks. 35 home runs 2 years ago at Erie. It's just all about that strike zone discipline for Steven Moya.
Tall kid, got big levers. Kind of reminds me of Tony Clark, although he's not a switch hitter like Tony.
Yeah.
But just the Tigers have had Tony, and he's just, if he makes contact, he's going to do much more damage. Like you say, he has the ability, but when you have the big long arms and the big tall body like that, it's probably a little harder to duplicate your swing path. But I've seen a lot of improvement over last year so far with Steven.
Bat looks small in his hand, doesn't it? I mean, this is a large man. 6'7", 260. 2 home runs this spring, swinging a foul here. I think probably always going to strike out, Gibby, but if he can just show a little more discipline, not chasing out of the strike zone, draw a few more walks, then all of a sudden he becomes more of a prospect again.
I think when you go to AAA, you run into a lot of pitchers that have major league experiences. They throw a lot of reverse count pitches. So maybe where you get the 1-0 fastball, now you're getting the 1-0 changeup or the 1-0 slider, the 1-0 breaking ball to get me over. I think it can be a tough league for certain individuals. And that's a good take right there.
Exactly.
Like he's not jumping at the ball. He's not flinching. It shows he's got confidence in his hands.
Now, to see at-bats like this will be at least an 8-pitch at-bat for Steven Moya after falling behind 1-2. And that's a good take again. That's what they need to see. Just that ability to stay in the strike zone and be a little more disciplined. That's a good at-bat.
Yeah, I think that when you look at him, and he has made progress, and should somebody get hurt, he may be a guy that the Tigers need to count on.
Jamie Schultz is the new pitcher for the Tampa Bay Rays. Casey McGee at the plate. He was picked up very late in the offseason. Another guy who can play multiple positions, not quite on the order of Romine and Aviles. Certainly first and third.
Lots of major league experience. Yeah.
There will be some guys with some major league experience who can help in a pinch if the need arises at AAA Toledo. There's a line drive. Glove by the third baseman Leonard. Throw back to first. That's a good job by Steven Moya to get back quickly. That was a rocket off the bat of Casey McGee.
A good job right here by Casey barreling it, and Moya, what's another one of the elements the Tigers have been working on, is getting back on line drives, reading the ball off the bat. It's chest high, immediately break it down. It's hard to turn that big frame around, and did a good job. You do not want to get doubled off on that batted ball there.
That was a good secondary lead there, though, right?
Excellent.
Just what you were talking about earlier.
Pretty good timing, yep.
Dixon Machado batting. Moya's going to draw a throw over to first, not a big base stealing threat. Schultz last year, AA Montgomery, the Biscuits. 3.67 ERA. The thing that jumps out at you, this is a guy who's had high strikeout totals through the minor leagues. When you're a starting pitcher and you average 11 strikeouts per 9, it catches your eye. There's a swing and a miss by Machado. The problem is walk rates that have been sky high as well.
You ever been to Montgomery?
I have not.
Tigers used to have a team there.
AA, right?
Tram and Lou and
was that
Parrish.
A-ball?
It was AA. They all came. They all came up. I think Les Moss was the manager then. Very hot. very
Steamy
warm
summer nights.
When you look at pitchers, you know, you're sweating that much. It's, you know, when you were talking about all the walks and stuff, so you just can that contribute to it?
Always good to have that reminder of where they are playing in the minor leagues, what the league is like. The Florida State League, of course, is a pitcher's league. The numbers at Erie are always filtered to the fact that that's a pretty good hitter's park. Oh, Moya got caught. He got caught leaning, and Schultz picked him off.
Yeah, I'm not really sure if he got caught looking somewhere else. Oh, he was going. Pretty good move by Schultz. You're trying to jump him right there. He probably had a timing mechanism going and held it a little longer, and got to give the Rays credit there.
Fly ball to left field, right to Decker, and left reaches up and makes the catch. Machado is out, and so the Tigers are headed to the ninth, and the Tigers hold on to a one-run lead here in Lakeland. In Florida, Tigers to the 6-5 lead, and Bruce Rondon takes over on the mound.
Well, you talk about the Royals and their success, 7, 8, 9. We're going to take a little look back, even though it's the spring training game. Tigers got a chance to do this. The young kid, Laura, in the 7th, comes in with a man on third and 1 out. Gets out of it with the strikeout. Then we bring in the young Jimenez, 8th inning, man on third, 1 out. Strikeout on the outside corner with the heater. And then the Snapdragon. And now you bring in Bruce Rondon, and he can complete the formula should he hold the Rays here in the top of the ninth. See, I told you it's a spring training game, not for me. But, you know, you want to win, and this is the mechanic that everybody tries to emulate right now. And even though they're kids, this is a good opportunity and a good positive builder for Rondon as well.
You see the numbers for the bullpen last year right at the very bottom, not just in the American League, but in all of baseball. And a very good chance that this bullpen is going to be a lot better this year. There's a pitch up and in, 95 to start the 9th inning. Rondon regularly in the upper 90s and triple digits. This is Decker at the plate, Jeff Decker. But with the additions of K-Rod to close games out, Wilson and Lowe, those are your 7, 8, 9 guys for the most part. Lowe and Wilson mix and match in the 7th and 8th. Justin Wilson and K-Rod in the 9th. Well, and then it allows you to use Hardy and Alex Wilson earlier in the game. Alex Wilson was superb in multiple inning roles last year, working 2 and 3 innings at a time. Blaine Hardy had a very good year. Wow. Just missed outside. Oh, he grabbed it. That's a late call from Laz Diaz. 1 and 2, 97 miles an hour.
Corners may get a little wider right now.
9th inning of a spring game.
I don't mind extra inning games, by the way, but maybe Laz Diaz does.
1-2, swing and a miss. Triple digits on that fastball, 100 miles an hour, and Decker strikes out.
Excellent. That's what you want to see out of your closer when he comes in. You got to get that first hitter. Certainly don't want to walk him. Rondon gives his best stuff. 100 miles an hour right there.
Boy, a flat-footed flail there.
That
got what you'd like to see.
Got on him quick.
Well, we all know how Bruce Rondon's season ended. Everybody's been about how this season will begin. That's a wicked slider there. So just a wave from Schaefer.
Definitely looking for the 100 right there.
That's a good way to start the at-bat. Gonzalez behind the plate, putting the signs down for Bruce Rondon. Bruce Rondon has come with a good attitude this spring, and he's going to get every chance, you would think, to make this final roster.
And if he doesn't, he needs to continue to have a good attitude, continue to build, continue to do his job. Again, we saw Jimenez, we saw Lara, there's others in the minor leagues. Tigers want to continue to build their depth so they can continue to have good options when they get late in the game, certainly when they're leading that game. Then when you're behind in the game, you got to have somebody that can cut it off. Just stop the bleeding, stop them from scoring additional runs so you can get back in that game.
Working ahead of both of the first two hitters here. 1-2 is hit high in the air to center field. Easy play for Jacoby Jones for out number 2. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Detroit Tigers, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Detroit Tigers. 2 outs in the 9th inning. 2 up, 2 down for Bruce Rondon, as the bullpen in the late innings has done a very good job this afternoon here in Lakeland. Twice, as Kirk mentioned, stranding runners at third. Potential go-ahead run at the time. Ground ball foul, but Gibby, from a manager's standpoint, if you're locking down the 7th, 8th, and 9th, like the Tigers hope to do this year with Wilson, Lowe, and K-Rod, it changes everything from your standards point as you're managing a bullpen.
Well, it shortens the game for you. Absolutely. Everybody's healthy, everybody's rested, then you have the last 3 innings figured out. And I'll tell you who that's worked for as well is Bruce Bochy over there in San Francisco.
Yeah.
He plays to win every game in 9 innings, okay? When I was a young manager, sometimes I always kind of maybe withheld guys at times just in case they tied. Now with Bochy, you're trying to win in 9. And when you have good options, 7, 8, 9, when you have the lead, that's how you nail it down. You win those games. That's what carries you into championship season status.
Boy, the fastball looks like it's got life today. It at times has been hittable in Bruce Rondon's career. It's got life today and getting swings and misses today.
I think that he's also tried to vary his mechanics a little bit to hide the ball, but we'll check into that for the next telecast.
The 1-2. Oh, so close. He wanted it.
How do you not call that?
Melee at the plate.
A better question, how do you not swing at that?
How does he hold off? Somehow he did. And Rondon's got a little more work to do. The 2-2. Swing and a miss. He got him on strikes. And a 1-2-3 for Bruce Rondon. The bullpen superb in the late innings for the Tigers today, and some very good swings early in the game, but that's a good way to end it, and it's so far a good spring for Bruce Rondon.
Yeah, good game today. Tigers now 5-4 on the 2016 spring training season. A lot of good things that they've been working on were implemented into the game, so very encouraging, and hopefully that will continue.
A lot to like about this Tigers win today. Tigers, our final score thanks to the Mayberry home run late. The Tigers beat the Tampa Bay Rays 6-5.